All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. A lot of football on the docket today as Chiefs in action on Sunday night. KU, Mizzou coming up on Saturday. Tomorrow, we will talk with Matt Derrick coming up at 11 o'clock. Hang out with Matt for the hour. Obviously talking some Chiefs football. Some other things that may come up with Matt Derrick.
That man last night gave me apoplexy. I was apoplectic because he texted me. I asked him, hey, you good for tomorrow, man? I'm out. Having a couple of cocktails.
Yeah, right.
Playing golden tea.
As one does.
Watching Thursday Night Football.
Uh-huh.
Eating food.
Uh-huh.
Drinking beverages, including Rumplemans.
Good for you.
And I get a text from Matt.
Yeah.
And it says, I can't.
Oh.
And I'm getting ready to just
like, oh my God.
Just rip into the guy like,
guys, my buzz is gone.
I have to do work now, boys. Sorry, I got to figure out a guest for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then he sends a little gif that says, I can't wait. And I'm like, you son of a...
Yeah, well done, Matt. I appreciate you doing that. You should do that more often.
Pulling a prank on me. Like Les Norman, anytime I have to ask him, he sends me Phil Collins references from Stu Studio.
I love it.
Which translates to Stu Studio.
That makes sense.
So
is that when he's going to be in the Stu Studio?
In studio versus phone. And if it's a phone, sometimes it'll be an ET.
Phonier.
I get ET references. So this is what I deal with. When I try and make sure the guests are good to go, being a responsible person that I am, I get played with.
I actually, Mark, I actually think that it would be better and funnier for you, at least for me, I mean, not to you, if it was the exact opposite. If Matt couldn't do it and you said, hey, are you in tomorrow? Are you still good to go? And he says, I can. Then the next text was, not be there tomorrow. Gotcha.
That would be horrible.
Because then, like, you see I can, and then you go back to doing what you were doing, golden tea, football, and Rumpelstiltskin, and hanging out there with the boys. And then you don't even worry about the next text. You're like, oh, Matt's texting, but he's already said he's in. I'll check that a little bit later.
It started off as a lovely night. I have my cut water while I'm watching Entourage with the wife.
Thank you, Matt Derrick, for doing that. Because you've made all of our days now. So we'll hang out with a fine American in Matt Derrick, get his thoughts on the Chiefs, and the bracket coming out in a few days with Matt Derrick. We'll talk some Chiefs football today. Adam Schefter tweeting out what the league is now going to be looking into after the Chiefs and Eagles game. I did not see this yesterday, so shout out and credit to the program after we were done yesterday. They're having on, and I don't know when they're going to have him on, but man, I cannot wait for the conversation. They're going to have on Stephen Ruiz from The Ringer at some point. Maybe it's today, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, but Stephen Ruiz wrote at The Ringer, the slow, boring erosion of the Chiefs dynasty. And I hadn't seen this, quite frankly. Didn't come across my timeline, hadn't visited The Ringer. He's typically a guy that spends his time at The Ringer breaking down quarterback play.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, not really interested in looking at the breakdown of quarterback play these first couple of weeks because I've watched Mahomes up close and personal these last 2 weeks, and I know some of the struggles offensively that he's having to deal with, and I also know some of the things that might be self-inflicted along the way. So over the course of the season, I'll pay a little bit more attention to that. There's a lot of different media members, analysts out there that would focus on just specific things like reception perception out there, quarterback play, offensive line play. You've got different places in the trenches, just looks at the offensive line play across the country or across the league. So those are really good. And I hadn't checked out Stephen Ruiz. So shout out to the program for seeing this. But there are a couple of points in this that I wanted to bring up, and I'm really looking forward to their conversation as well whenever they have them. So we're going to do that at some point today. Kendall Gammon will join us coming up at noon. We will have a Fast Friday at 1 o'clock with Andy Reid, and we'll see which players will be there as they get set for their trip to New York. We got the cuts before the show is over and a couple of things along the way that we may or may not get into. College football, certainly we'll talk about today. KU in action, big favorites in a conference game.
Huge.
Against the Mountaineers. You've got Mizzou in a wacky line that seems like it might have settled sort of finding its place and settling. When it opens up at about a field goal, jumps up to 13.5, continues to fall back towards what would make a little more sense to 10.5, and now it's sitting at 10 with the expectations that Lenora Sellers is going to play on Saturday. So Lenora Sellers is expected to play tomorrow in concussion protocol. It does not mean that South Carolina is going to go out there and automatically win because Sellers is playing, because they hadn't really looked good this year. And certainly they're better with Sellers in the game, but I think it's an opportunity for Missouri. I want Lenora Sellers to play, quite frankly, because I want to see what Missouri looks like with South Carolina at their quote-unquote best, at least personnel-wise, because I think Missouri can take care of business against South Carolina. The line of 10 is really interesting because it hasn't really moved since the reports came out that Lenora Sellers is expected to start.
That's surprising
sort of
to
stayed
me.
the same.
Why was it 3 when he was expected to play, and then now it's expected to play, and it's 9.5? That just feels ridiculous to me.
There's a massive middle there. If you got South Carolina at
13.5,
and now you get you could take Mizzou at like 10, or maybe it's down to 9.5 or something like that. You got a massive
9.5,
middle, right there. So we'll talk some college football today as well as KU gets ready for West Virginia, Missouri, and South Carolina. Both teams opening up conference play. Let's start with the NFL and what we saw last night in a game that, we joked yesterday. Not even joked. I actually thought, yesterday when I was talking about my buddy who's a Bills fan that was, pumped for the game last night. I'm like, man, must be nice to know that you've got a team that's just going to go out and dominate a team, right? That you just know, like, we talk about the Chiefs and Giants, and it's like, I think the Chiefs are going to win, but they just don't really go out and punk teams by more than 2 scores, right? And just dominate a team. It's happened a couple of times. It happened against Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they went out and dominated that game by 3 scores. It happened in the Ice Bowl Part 2 at Arrowhead when they beat the Miami Dolphins in sub-40-degree wind chill. And it happened game number 1 of the Taylor Swift era against the Chicago Bears. Those are the last 3 times the Chiefs have won by more than 2 scores. So they don't do it very often. And my expectation last night was, man, but the Bills are just going to go and dominate the Dolphins on Thursday night. But I also said I ain't touching the line. I'm not going to touch the line.
I touched it.
You went Dolphins plus the points?
Yeah.
Okay.
11.5.
You loved it, and my worry was a backdoor cover, which really wasn't the case. It was almost a backdoor cover by the Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, the right side of the line last night.
Front door cover.
Yeah, right. There you go. The right side of the line last night was the Miami Dolphins, and they ended up covering. There's a few takeaways that I have from this game last night and how it is related to the Chiefs. One, those Thursday night games are always kind of crazy. Like, you never really know what to expect because it's a short week. My opinion on the game was colored by how bad the Dolphins had looked in the first 2 weeks, and could they fix some of those issues with just a couple of days of practice.
Sure.
So I know that there's some odd things that may take place line-wise on a Thursday night game, and it might be, a little sloppier football game. But I came away from that game last night, one, we often look at, and Kevin Harlan has said this for so many years, find the team that's most desperate to win, and you'll find the team that may end up winning that game or covering the massive line that's there in the Miami Dolphins. But I also wonder, would we be talking differently about the Buffalo Bills right now if they didn't have the historic comeback against the Ravens? If they lost to the Ravens, dominated the Jets, and then right there with what seems like a bad Miami team at home, divisional game, desperation, Miami, all of that stuff, I don't know that the feeling would be, well, the Bills are 3-0. Look what they did. They beat the Ravens at home. They get the Chiefs at home. They dominated the Jets. They still won that game by 10 last night against the Dolphins and may have played as great as they're going to play all year. Like, there are ways to sort of look at it, and it's also the NFL.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to survive each and every week unless it's one of those sort of seasons where you just go, man, everything is falling in their favor, like the Chiefs last year, quite frankly. It's just kind of falling in their favor in terms of certain things that happen along the way, or they're making winning plays, or Tua throws the ball right to a linebacker, things like that. And it might be, Derrick Henry fumbles the football.
Sure.
It could be one of those to where the Bills, who don't really play a tough opponent until they've got the Chiefs at home on November 2nd, because they play the Saints at home, the Patriots at home. Atlanta on the road is interesting. Then
Atlanta's
they've got
pretty solid.
Then they got a bye week, and they go to Carolina, and then they face off against the Chiefs at home. They have a number of teams on their schedule that are like, man, they got some salty teams, but they also have the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bengals at home, the Eagles at home. All of those tough teams are at home. Not exactly like the Chiefs are going on the road. I mean, they face the Eagles and the Ravens at home, and they may end up losing both of those games, so it may not matter. I came away from that game looking at it and going, as it relates to the Chiefs have a lot of things they have to fix. So we're looking at what it takes to get to the playoffs and then win in the playoffs, because it's Super Bowl for the Chiefs. It's Super Bowl for the Bills. It's Super Bowl for the Ravens. Like, there are certain teams that it's Super Bowl or bust for those teams. Eagles, Super Bowl or bust. I think the Green Bay Packers competing for a Super Bowl or bust this year from where it feels. I think the Lions were coming into the season going, this needs to be a year to where you're in the NFC Championship game or in the Super Bowl. It's about time that you get over the hump. Even losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, it was like, it's time to take advantage of what you have before it starts being picked apart with pieces, and you start to suffer from picking near the bottom of the draft every single year, like the Chiefs have had to do, like for the most part the Bills have had to do, like the Ravens have had to do, the Eagles have had to do for, the most part, but they've also had a couple of higher picks when they trade Carson Wentz and they have a season where it isn't, where they end up missing the playoffs or whatever, and it's like, okay, so they get a couple of mixed in, picks here where the Chiefs are not picking in the top 20.
Yeah.
Last top 20 pick for the Chiefs was Patrick Mahomes, and they had to trade up 17 spots to get there. So the highest pick since then was Trent McDuffie, and they had to trade up 9 spots to get there, whatever it was, to go get Trent, or 7 spots, whatever it might have been. So we know those things, and those, the excuses, reasons, all of that stuff. But I came away from that game with 2 observations, Sterling, and I want to hear what you thought. And that is, if not for a crazy sort of comeback against Baltimore, I wonder if we'd be discussing this Bills team as, defensively, are they actually good enough to win the Super Bowl when it comes time to playoff time, if Josh Allen can't carry what is a Josh Allen and James Cook? And Dalton Kincaid looked good last night, so maybe he's becoming more of that guy. But Keon Coleman had an amazing week 1, and he's had 40 yards receiving combined since that first game when he had 100-plus yards receiving. He's had like 20 and 20 the last 2 weeks. Josh Palmer finally got a target. I mean, we're looking at the weapons that Josh Allen, this is a credit to Josh Allen, by the way, of what he's done. And also Tua sucks. Like, those are sort of, and I'd like the Chiefs to trade for somebody on the Dolphins. It's just not Tyreek Hill. It'd be Devon Achane.
My main takeaway was the Dolphins team isn't that bad outside of Tua. I think Tua is a bottom 5 quarterback somehow in the NFL now. I mean,
such a weak arm. Like, he can't throw off platform.
It's just, he can't throw off platform. He has to be completely set, and even when he is, it's not a good arm. And that offense is all built for speed. I mean, that's with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Malik Washington. You looked at he had as many throws behind the line of scrimmage as past the line of scrimmage, I believe, or at least maybe it was completions. I forget what the actual number was. It was either completions or attempts, but it was exactly half on past the line of scrimmage versus behind.
Passes. Yeah.
And it's just unsustainable. He's just not good, and I don't think this Dolphins team is that bad. I don't think Mike McDaniel's a great head coach. I think he could be a good OC because I think he's very good in the run game. I think he's very creative. Hell, if you're talking about bring creativity to Kansas City.
I said that yesterday, dude.
Yeah, I love ripping on Mike McDaniel all the time because of the capris and the whole look. And to me, I feel like the head coach spot is too big for him. Some guys are OCs or some guys are coordinators, and I feel like...
And some guys aren't good at coordinating but are good head coaches. It's not the same skill set.
Yeah, very, very different.
Oh, I hate how you have to advance from a play caller to be a head coach. It ain't the same skill set.
Because even like would Mike Vrabel or Dan Campbell, for example, Dan Campbell be a good coordinator, but he's a great head coach.
Right. I mean, so this guy is an amazing salesman in this region, and now we're going to make him the manager of all the sales staff, every one of them. Well, okay, well, maybe he's good at dealing with the clients specifically, but not the overall sales team. It's a different skill set. Anyway, go ahead.
And so that's my thought on Mike McDaniel. So come to KC, be the run game coordinator. Would love that. Tua is just atrocious now. I mean, he's unplayable, and that's where I think Miami is at right now. Because I actually left going, Jalen Waddle got open a ton. Tyreek Hill was open perpetually in this game. Malik Washington I thought was open a lot as well. If you're Buffalo, you have some concerns in the secondary, but this Bills team is so darn good to me. Like this Bills team.
So your takeaway was not the, like, when I looked at him, like, man, I know they got the interception late.
Sure.
But I look at it and go, man, I don't know how good this Bills defense is.
And I know they won by 10, but if you watch the game, it was a lot closer because they missed that long-ish field goal at the very end. Well, then all of a sudden Miami has it down 7 with the ball on the 40 with a minute left.
If they were to miss that.
Again, if.
You also have the roughing the kicker.
Roughing the kicker.
By your highest-paid defensive player.
But we've seen teams do that against Kansas City. We've seen the Raiders botch a snap. We've seen.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe it's one of those years for Buffalo. It could certainly be that.
I think they're good, man.
Yeah.
And to me, Josh Allen is so damn good. He's playing at the highest level. He's no longer putting the ball in harm's way. I know people will say the line of scrimmage and ADOT and all that stuff, but he went 22 of 28, 213, 3 touchdowns, no picks. When he needs a first down with his legs, he gets it.
The touchdown pass, the little toss.
The little toss. I mean,
he's got Mahomes to his game. He's got Hurts to his game.
He's so fun to watch, and this is where I sometimes find frustration with some Chiefs fans. Not all Chiefs fans, and this is a small subsect of Chiefs fans. Why can we not also recognize greatness in Josh Allen? Why does it have to be we have to tear down Josh to bring Mahomes up? Or why, if I give him credit, that means I'm tearing down Pat? No, they're different quarterbacks, they're different players. But Josh Allen's so fun to watch, and he's playing the best football we've seen right now in the NFL. And he's throwing to guys like Khalil Shakur, Elijah Moore, who was bounced off the Browns, right? Wasn't it Browns and Jets? I mean, Tyrell Shavers, Keon Coleman, Jackson Hawes had a touchdown reception. Josh Palmer's done nothing. He couldn't. I mean,
well, he hadn't played the Chiefs yet.
Yeah.
Once Josh Palmer plays the Chiefs, then he's Randy Moss.
I just, like, you look at the wide receiving core, and it's just, we make excuses here in KC sometimes for the injuries, and I think it's completely fair, but Hollywood Brown would maybe go 1 overall in the receiving room if you're doing a draft.
Of just the healthy players right now?
Of just the healthy players. Are you taking Shakir or Shakir or Hollywood? Are you taking Keon Coleman or in a 1 year?
I might take Shakira right now over Hollywood because I'm not really sure what Hollywood does right now. I mean, I watch Hollywood play and I'm like, what is it you say you do here?
I mean, like, and that's what it comes down to. This is not me trying to again, rip on Mahomes or anything, but like, we sometimes make excuses for the lack of receivers and some of the struggles. And I'm not saying it's not valid.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not valid. But then you look at Buffalo's and you're like, Khalil Shakur is their wide receiver 1.
And I think what helps that the Chiefs clearly do not have is obviously Josh Allen's legs is are part of this conversation, and obviously Mahomes is what we're talking about this year. But they're able to hand it to James Cook 19 times and have 110 yards and a touchdown.
And that's a massive that's the biggest difference. That's the biggest difference.
Josh, the next 3 plays are not on you. We're just going to hand it off to James Cook, swing past to James Cook, hand it off to James Cook, and let him go and cook and just do his thing. And we're not putting the offense and the playmaking on your shoulders for the next 3 plays or so.
Yeah.
You know? And the Chiefs can't do that because they can't hand the ball off and then be, more times than not, ahead of the sticks.
It puts more pressure on Patrick when you run the football. When you do, like, for the Bills, you hand it to James Cook, and it takes pressure off of Josh.
100%.
You hand it off to Pacheco or Kareem Hunt at times, and it actually puts more pressure on Patrick. You do that swing pass to Kareem Hunt where he's wide open. You think that's an easy first down, and it takes him 19 seconds. I mean, it looked like Salvador Perez trying to hit a triple.
It's disrespectful to Salvi.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's also like it was an unbelievable mismatch. Cooper DeJean, one of the best in the open field.
Yeah, I agree. But
it's also Cooper DeJean in the open field is one of the best. But it's a huge mismatch because Kareem Hunt had like a trailer hitch on him. Like he was, for whatever reason, it was like, why are you running with a parachute behind you? Like that doesn't. Why are you using sand shoes? Like this is odd. Are you wearing sandals? Like, what's going on here? Why does it take you so long to get rolling? And the same thing with like the Dolphins when you've got Devon Achane that has 12 carries and also 9 targets in the game, where some of those are like swing pass, just get him the ball and let him work. Just get him the ball, get him out in space, and let him make a quick move. It's a jab step, man. Like Achane, you're in the open field, you just show the leg a little bit. You just jab step, show the leg, maybe lift the skirt, just to show the leg even more, and then plant, and you're gone. And because you're so quick and so fast that you can make that particular move, it is so obvious when you watch that game last night and the run game, the difference that those guys make. But the scheme and the game plan part of the run game and getting those guys the ball is different than I think what the Chiefs would do.
It's so when you
because
watch
it'd be an RPO handoff to Achane or James Cook. It
Yes.
wouldn't be we're just getting Josh Allen under center and we're going to take the snap and give it to James Cook and power run. It would be Mahomes shotgun, look right, handoff to Pacheco or James Cook, and then let him try to find the inside zone if it's there or not. Not necessarily a power or a gap or whatever it might be. So the scheme is going to be different too, but they also don't have somebody that can create, based on that scheme.
When I saw the game plan for Miami last night, I was left saying Mike McDaniel can draw up good plays. Mike McDaniel is a guy who can get the ball into the hands of his best players a decent amount. Actually, I don't think he's a good head coach, and I think Tua's just that bad. That's what I think it comes down to is Tua cannot throw the ball down the field with any sort of accuracy or consistency, and so it just absolutely kills that offense. But you're right. I was left thinking I wouldn't mind two people in KC. Devon Achane, 3 people. Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, and Mike McDaniel as the run game coordinator.
Can you maybe not in that order. I don't know. It might be Achane, McDaniel, then Tyreek.
Because Tyreek was always open that game. I mean, Tyreek was just.
I watched that game, and it's like, okay, Tyreek hasn't lost a step. He's just playing with Tua.
And he had that one where I think it was a business decision where he went up and he thought he was going to get undercut from behind because it was kind of a hospital ball thrown.
Yeah.
I think in KC, we've seen him come down with that ball many, many times. I was surprised he didn't come down with that ball.
He also, and this is the difference in like one play that could be massive. The Chiefs got stopped on 4th and 1 at their own 36, right? They went for it, made the decision, but why'd they have to go for it on 4th and 1? Because on 3rd and 1, Hollywood Brown ran a mesh route in which he didn't run it shallow enough, so he was running and then saw Kelsey and the linebacker and had to stop, weave around inside, which allowed Makuba to catch up. Hollywood Brown caught the ball, and one-on-one in open space, he gets tackled. Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 7 catches the ball coming back to the line of scrimmage, 2 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
And then is quick enough to go and make a move and pick up the first down and then slide down and hand the ball to the ref, and now it's a first down. Hollywood Brown can't make a guy miss when you guys are running an open field together. And Tyreek Hill made 3 guys miss with his back to the defenders, not seeing where they were. That's a difference. And then the Chiefs have to go for it on 4th and 1, and they get stopped. And so there is that element to where you go, okay, what does Tyreek Hill offer to this team? That, if he's the one running the shallow, running the mesh short, I'd take my chances that Tyreek catches the ball and either beats him to the corner or stops, and Makuba has to worry about the speed so much that then he's sort of off balance. But Devon Achane would be pretty awesome. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Adam Schefter tweeting out what's going on in the league based on coming out of the game on Sunday. There's certainly a Chiefs feel to that. And then we'll hear from Lee Sterling coming up later on this hour. More Zone coming up next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll hear from Lee Sterling, Todd Lebo coming up later on this hour. Matt Derrick joins us in the 11 o'clock hour. Kendall Gaiman coming up at noon. Adam Schefter tweeting out that the league has let the officials know that the tush-push should be officiated tighter than what it has been so far.
You just said officiated.
That's a good call. There does not need to be a qualifier. He used air quotes tighter than what it has been for, especially, I mean, last Sunday was the highlight of it. And it's really interesting to me because I wondered if people would talk about it the way that they incessantly talked about Jawan Taylor with Chris Collinsworth on that Thursday night game, and that being the night where Jawan Taylor had a nightmare of what he had done in his career before that nobody cared about or paid attention to, because you know what they said? Well, yeah, but he's doing the same thing that other guys are doing. We joked about Joey Bosa losing his bleep in the playoff game and how crazy it was for him to be screaming and getting penalties, yelling at the refs in a playoff game that they blew that huge lead. And you know what he was complaining about? Jawan Taylor jumping early for the Jags. And nobody cared about Jawan Taylor. It was about how stupid and crazy Joey Bosa was, putting his team in that position to where he made those decisions that cost them not only penalty yards, but his mind being in the game. And the next week against the Chiefs, Jawan Taylor doing the same thing, but it was against the Chiefs. The very next game Jawan Taylor played that was an official game was when apparently he had been cheating and it had to stop because the next game he played was for the Chiefs. Back-to-back weeks in the playoffs, standalone games. Nobody cared. Nobody cared at all. And then it became the biggest issue that people have talked about for 3 years now with the Chiefs. Oh, you guys get away with false starts all the time. Oh, it's always these false starts all the time. False starts. And there are now two things that have happened with the Chiefs that have had the league go out and say, we need to officiate this differently, which I think is unbelievable considering the allegations of the league going out of their way to protect the Chiefs. There have been two things that the league has said, this is not the way that it was intended to be in the rules. So now that the league is doing that with the Eagles, you have Eagles fans or Eagles players or former players that are looking at it and saying, oh, of course it happened for the Chiefs, so now we've got to crack down. How dumb is that logic?
Because the Chiefs don't get any of the benefit of it.
That's the point. If they cared about the Chiefs, they would have done it before the Chiefs game. Like, the logic is so dumb to think of it that way. Oh, so then the next one is, well, it hurt the Chiefs, so now they have to change it because it hurt the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't the Bills. That's the Bills that happen. That's what happens with the Bills. But there are two things that have happened with the Chiefs that the league has said, based on this play, it is being officiated incorrectly. They clearly cracked down on Jawan Taylor illegal formation and the trying to time the snap count too fine. And jumping early sometimes. There's no doubt about it. Jawan Taylor is false started. I mean, we've complained about it. We've talked about it. Like, I get annoyed if he's called for a false start when he times it perfectly. Because it's when the ball is moving. It ain't Mahomes' cadence, which he's timing up the cadence. It's the ball moving. And there are plenty of times when people have said, oh, that's a false start, that you slow it down. And his right foot and lean is happening in concert with Creed Humphrey moving the football. And it's like, wow, that is amazing timing for Jawan Taylor. But there are times when it's early. So don't do that. But the other one that was made a point from the league was the play that continued to get shown when Mahomes trucked the defender for the Chargers, and then people said, and I had to fight this battle, and I've stopped. I've gone away. I've deleted so many texts or tweets since then. I'm not fighting the battle this entire week. Haven't done anything. And fighting that particular 100%. Give me a couple more days, and then I'll crash down. I just wanted a taste. Come on, I've got these cheeseburgers. I just want a taste of a tweet to go and argue about. But to hear that, well, Mahomes does this all the time. It's how he's officiated. He knows that every time he gets near the sideline, if he's touched, he'll get a penalty. So he baits players into doing that, okay?
He's a master at it.
Right. 100%. So then you push back on that and you go, there isn't evidence to support that. And the one play that they constantly go to is the game against the Packers when they say, see what Mahomes did here? See, he slowed down. One, that's not true. He was trying to get to the first down marker. He thought he was going to get there. He didn't. He's not slowing down. He's bracing for contact. He got hit with his foot inbounds. They threw the penalty. We talked about it that night. I even tweeted about it. That's a bad penalty.
Yeah.
That should not be a penalty.
We concur.
Right. Now, they ignore the pass interference that happened later on. And
the one on MVS?
Yeah, the one that MVS got tackled and it was not called.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the point of maybe the officials in that game just sucked.
Yeah.
Which they did. Okay, so that play being pointed out is actually a detriment to their argument for two reasons. One, before that year, the league had made an emphasis to say officiating quarterbacks at the sideline should give more benefit to the defender. If the quarterback is not fully out of bounds, it is not a penalty. And then that happened later that year. And you know what the league did? They reminded officials after that based on that play and said, this is not a penalty. Mm-hmm. Not, it's a penalty because it's Mahomes. It was specifically because it was Mahomes and everybody saw it that they said, we have to go and send out this memo or this edict to the officials that this is not a penalty. Fast forward to the Texans game. Mahomes flopped. Nobody's doubting that. He tried to draw the penalty. He flopped. This is brought up as see what Mahomes does. But again, detrimental to the argument because they didn't throw the flag. Based on the fact that Mahomes got hit in the Packers game and the league said, this isn't a penalty, officiate it differently. Officiate it the way that we want it officiated. And I'm not sure there's been a roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness call for a quarterback that's still in bounds, trying to get out of bounds, that's hit while his feet were in bounds and the flag was thrown since that Mahomes play. But that's the one that's used, which hurts their argument. It's amazing that a couple of things have happened. And now this one, which is them going out of their way to cheat, right? Or going out of their way to push the line, like Jawan Taylor. And they should crack down on Jawan Taylor jumping early. They should also crack down on every other tackle if they're going to do that jumping early, Elaine Johnson or whoever else. But I find it hilarious, fascinating, quite frankly annoying, that this one thing happens and somehow this is also to benefit the Chiefs, where the couple times before where the league has said this is officiated incorrectly has been Jawan Taylor and Patrick Mahomes on the sideline.
I don't have the same anger. I think
I know you don't.
Because I think the people that I couldn't have a realistic conversation with those folk, so I just let it go.
True. That's true.
Like the people that are like, this benefits the Chiefs, I'm sitting here going, you are so unintelligent that I'm not going to punch down because now I'm in the muck with you.
I know.
And so that's where I land on this, because if someone says this benefits the Chiefs, I go, I would never grab a beer with you. I couldn't watch a game with you.
That's
you
true.
seem
I
like
should take that.
you seem like a miserable person.
Yeah, I should take that way of going.
You're not intelligent enough for me to make fun of.
Yeah, I did when Zach Eisen tweeted out a picture of the pocket for Mahomes on a 3-step drop when we talked about it a couple days ago, where Trey Smith is just getting pushed back into Mahomes. Mahomes can't fully step into the throw, and I'm like, this is graded as no pressure and a clean pocket, but that's
NFL pocket.
Yeah, but it's a subjective term what a clean pocket is, and I would say clean pocket is not a quarterback on a 3-step drop not being able to fully extend his front foot because your highest paid guard in the league is getting walked back into the lap of Mahomes. And, then like taking your tact, a reply from some random dude that's like, this is an obvious clean pocket. Mahomes just whatever, sucks. So then I just click on his timeline. The timeline is dedicated to how terrible Mahomes is.
Yeah.
The whole timeline. So I did respond, and I just said, dude, your timeline is all about hating Mahomes. Touch grass and go away. Go touch grass. That was it. I didn't argue with him. So thank you, Sterling. You've helped me with that. You've helped me evolve.
Of course, that's what I'm here for.
Yep. Until Sunday night, and then something else.
I'm
will
your
come up.
therapist. I'm your Twitter
And
therapist.
then something else will come up on Sunday night. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Lee Sterling and Todd Lebo getting you set for the weekend's worth of action. More so next.
you always have fun promotions, and this one might be one of my favorites every single year. What have you got for us this week?
Well, it's our world famous, I used to just call it the Baker's Dozen, but I get so many emails, texts, and calls from people. I now call it the world famous Baker's Dozen. I think because it's, number one, it's popular and the most popular promotion that we have. It's 13 games combined, Saturday and Sunday, just $97. That's it, $97, and it's an immediate download, so you don't have to wait until Saturday or Sunday to call me back. As soon as you purchase it, window pops open with all 13 games, so you're ready to go. And not just the price point, it's the success we've had with this promotion. We've had a ton of of the 13 games, 12-1, 11-2, and 10-3 records. Never a 13-0 yet. So maybe this might be the time. So if you want to get on this Baker's Dozen, 13 games, just $97. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
All right, let's talk about some games. We don't know if these are in the Baker's Dozen, but let's talk about some games. I'm going to have my eye on this first one for sure. Oklahoma at home, 6.5-point favorite over Jackson Arnold, the quarterback who was their quarterback last year, now plays for Auburn. Oklahoma won at Auburn last year, but he had already been benched. So this is a weird game that we get these kind of things in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. And here's what's interesting about that. I think that this favors the head coach, Brent Venables, who calls the defensive signal. So I think it's a big advantage for them. He has to know his weaknesses. He has to know, I'll never forget this. We had a kid come in from another school, and we knew that he was susceptible to a blindside cornerback blitz. So little things like that, or they misread this coverage, or they don't see this linebacker in this type of coverage, and know he likes to do certain things when he scrambles. So I think that really certainly has to favor them, and the game's at home. And if you don't think John Mateer was a huge acquisition, and you don't think it's maybe the biggest acquisition, would you agree that he's probably leading the Heisman run right now?
He's been good so far. I mean, heck, they've changed the program. He's 3-0. He's the odds-on favorite in a lot of places for sure.
Okay, so they were talking about Arch Manning, talking about Lenore Sellers, talking about Cade Klubnik. All these guys, 5 guys being top 10 possible picks, none of them have done anything so far. Even, Garrett Nussmeier they're undefeated, but he's been nothing special. I think that he's number 1. I think that Carson Beck's 2, and number 3 might be Marcel Reed from Texas A&M, the way he led them back in that game on the road. So watch them and pop in a tape from last year's game against Washington. He absolutely carried that team on his back and willed them to a win when his team had nothing. This year, that team that was left, they went to North Texas last week. They were losing at North Texas 42-0. Are you kidding me? He willed his team to that win a couple weeks ago against Michigan. So I just think he's going to find a way here. And Auburn also, something I noticed, they did beat Baylor, and give them credit. They came back. It looked like start the game they were in trouble. But a lot of their best plays were broken plays. I like Oklahoma here. I think home field advantage is big. Sooners, 34-24.
Let's go. All right, Missouri, this line's been all over the place. Started really low, got higher. Who knows what it's going to be tomorrow when it goes off, but let's pick Missouri as an 11-point favorite at home over South Carolina, who might have a quarterback in or out.
They're sending mixed signals, and that's the trouble here. Even if he plays, I mean, they're averaging 14.5 points with him under center, so that's not good enough. This Missouri offense is better than last year. Let's be honest. If you're watching them, they might have had more big names, but this is a better team. And I bet you if you ask the Penn State coaching staff, honestly, behind the scenes, if they would rather have Bo Prabella or Drew Allar, I think they'd say Prabella. He's a better college quarterback. He means more to this team. And, I mean, if not for a late miracle, it prevented the Gamecocks from losing to Missouri for a 6th straight season. I like the Tigers here, 34-16.
Yeah, they are at home again as their first 6 are at home. All right, the Kansas Jayhawks are back in action now after going to Columbia a couple of weeks ago. They're almost a 2-touchdown favorite against West Virginia, who's probably coming off a pretty big high, coming back and winning in overtime in their game against Pittsburgh. Can they get up again 2 weeks in a row?
I don't know if I've ever seen a team, West Virginia, win a game when they replaced – well, they played 3 quarterbacks, and not because of injury. They replaced them because they were that bad. They somehow won the game because Pitt sat in a prevent with 5 minutes to go, up 10. I think Kansas coming off the bye, and that loss to Missouri, very misleading. They were up 21-7 before losing by 11 on that defensive score into the game. Very misleading final. They're coming off the backyard brawl, like you mentioned here. I think West Virginia is a bad team. I don't think they win more than one game rest of the year. I think Kansas runs away with this game here, 45-24.
All right, let's shift gears and talk a little National Football League. Big Monday night football game. The Ravens are a 6-point favorite at home against the Lions. If the Ravens don't win this game, they will be 1-2, and that seems insane to me. But they are almost a touchdown favorite over a Lions team who looked like they got right last week.
Look at the schedules they're giving these tough teams to start the year. They are not making it easier. I think the difference, though, is Detroit got punched in the face that first game of the year on the road and just wasn't their day. You saw what they were all about. They punched Chicago back last week. They scored early and often. Their defense also had 3 sacks. They were decimated with injuries late last year. Don't base them on what you saw. They were down 7 or 8 starters on defense here. This is a different team, different year, and also Dan Campbell, just 10-2 in primetime games when he's been the coach here. Wrong team favorite. Detroit straight up 31-27.
Wow, how about that one? All right, Sunday night football. Chiefs looking for a win, man. I mean, they talk about schedules. They had to play the Chargers, they had to play the Eagles. This is their one easy-ish game, but it's on the road. It's Sunday night football at the Giants, who looked like they got their offense going last week at least.
So 2 things. Mike Kafka, having been Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach for 4 years, plus Andy Reid's passing game coordinator 2 of the last 4, has to account for something. I'm not sure it's enough at this point, but something. Also, home underdog since 2021, 56-30-1. That's 65.1%. But I think Kansas City is going to demolish this team. This Giants team, I think they're decimated after that loss last week. Great teams and very good teams. They rebound, and they know this is a must-win here. They got to travel next week. They got a tough game on the road. So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. He's going to lead his team to a win here, and they cover 30-20.
They need to find something to get a win somewhere, that's for sure. Tell us about the Baker's Dozen, and you've got a game of the week for us.
Yep. Game of the week is going to be the Chargers in Denver. Wow, this game doesn't get any bigger. Both teams should be, let's be honest, should be undefeated. What Denver happened to them at the end of the game, the defensive lineman ended up crashing into the center on the field goal, 60-yard attempt, cost them the game, maybe cost them the division. So these are 2 teams still playing at a very high level. You want to get the Chargers, Broncos winner, be one of the first 10 callers, 800-400-9741 for free. And like I said, Baker's Dozen, 13 games, $97. Biggest, most successful promotion, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
That's Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. Red Friday continues on The Zone right after this.
No. How are we already into October? I feel like I just now started getting 2025 correct when I'm writing on my formats.
I'm still 2011.
I stopped writing 2024 like last week, and now I'm at 2025.
I mean, every year I write Mocktober on my checks, so.
I write Rocktober, baby.
Of course, that joke doesn't work anymore since no one writes checks.
That's a
I
good
write
point. Good
checks
call.
way more than you think.
Yeah, but you write checks. Your mouth does that your body can't cash.
Ayo.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that was great.
That's what happens.
No, I do write way too many. I write a lot of checks. I'll go to the grocery store, pull
You
it
write
out.
a check at the grocery store? What are you, 70?
No, I'm kidding. That was a bit. But I do write a lot of checks,
say?
which I probably write few a month.
Well, you're moving houses, though. So that makes
Slanging
sense.
Holmes, baby.
That makes sense.
There you
know
go.
what I mean? He's out
Sterling
there just,
slanging Holmes, baby.
I like when Sterling shows up to a negotiation of selling a house when he's the realtor selling it, and they agree on a price, and they show up at closing, and Sterling goes, price of the brick just went up. Like, oh, hold on. No, the house was it's $10,000 more. Take it or leave it. Price of the brick went up.
I always laugh too. Like I had a closing yesterday morning, so I get here and I'm all dressed up in my suit and dress clothes, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, you look nice." I'm like, "No, I just wanted to class this joint up over here."
Yeah, as he shows up today in a T-shirt and a camouflage hat. I can't even see the headphones on your head right now.
I got
This is a Sterling I've never seen before.
wore a suit yesterday. I'm wearing rainbow sandals, jeans, Cage the Elephant
Cage the
shirt,
Elephant,
and a 2011. So I'm at the Beaumont Club here. Shout out Beaumont Club, bring that back. And a camo hat. Yeah, I'm just vibing.
Go ahead.
This dude could right now be a surfer, a hipster, and a hunter all at the same time.
This guy,
Hey, I'm an
totally,
onion,
dude.
baby.
Like, I can't believe that, like,
lot of layers.
I can't believe, like, we're attacking our environment the way that we are, you know what I mean? But that deer's got to go.
Well, I gotta save it because it's gonna go. Like you gotta get the deer, or else they're gonna starve themselves, and someone has to eat. And I like deer.
Don't you feel like we're cutting down too many
I like
trees?
venison.
Because I need a place to put my deer stand because that deer is going to get it.
You know, we've been talking over Chiefs in the media workroom. We've been talking a lot about Fat Bear Week this week.
Dude, I
because
was
it's
gonna-
coming up, and right now you'd be looking like you're rooting for the moose.
Oh, good call.
I do.
Yeah.
I do
When
root
does-
for the moose.
We're a few days away from
There's
the bracket, right?
terrifying people.
A few days away from the.
How do they decide the bracket? All right, I've got to know this. How do they decide what the bracket looks like?
That
Because they've
is-
already got the junior, right? Or the Cub bracket
the
out?
Fat Bear Junior final is today.
Okay.
Because that's just a 4-bear competition.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many junior bears that
And,
are good enough to be in Fat Bear Week.
Well, and that's the thing. This year there wasn't a big field to choose from. So
the Cubs?
From the Cubs, because there weren't a lot of Cubs
well,
around this
Pete
year.
Crow Armstrong
Yeah, he
really fell
struggled.
off.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like he could have done.
Tucker's injury, had
Yeah.
an issue. Is
Well, Chunk is the big one. I mean, because Chunk's been dealing with a broken jaw played through a broken jaw all season.
How do you
Right.
break a jaw as a
And-
bear?
well, they don't know he showed up with the broken
Well,
jaw.
okay, here he showed up with the broken
It was
jaw.
an off the field injury. They're
It was
like, whoa.
It was an off-season injury.
yeah, what happened with your
we
contract?
don't know what happened.
He's not supposed to ride a motorcycle.
But here's the thing. Here's the conspiracy theory with the whole
Cocaine
thing.
bear.
Because Chunk is huge, and Chunk is a fierce bear. So there's only a handful of bears that could break Chunk's jaw.
Did 747?
747 Bear Force 1 never showed up this year.
Oh, are you? So are we thinking that Bear Force 1 and Chunk Chunk got
That's
into a
my
fight?
conspiracy theory is that Bear Force 1 and 747 and 32 Chunk got into it. Chunk came away with a broken jaw, and 747 may not have come away from it.
Is there a chance that 747 Bear Force 1 was like, look, Chunk, you got to pay for what you did to Grazer's cub. So I'm.
Is it
I'm-
Chunk or Chunk?
I'm
Chunk.
I'm taking you off
The
the
Bears
board.
are chunky, but he's Chunk.
Okay.
747 showed up in the middle of a field and said, "Look, sorry, dude, Chunk, I'm taking you off the board this year," and it backfired on him.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
How do you win?
You get fat?
So the park rangers choose the bracket. They're the ones that.
Okay, so that's how
base it. And then now there's a conceit to it, which is that in order for it to be, because the competition's supposed to be who has gotten the fattest and put on the most weight during the season by eating the salmon. So they want to be able to have a picture of a bear early in the season when they're
Yeah.
skinny, and then later in the season. So, you know, you've got to be there in June or July when you're kind of skinny.
They're in their summer bods then.
And their summer buds.
Now it's bulking season.
Although last year, you know, salmon was pretty decent last year. So everybody came back kind of chunky as it was.
Interesting.
So they were already kind of fat. And this year the salmon run has been
Andy
just
Reid would not like that.
Salmon run this year has been ridiculous. So everybody's chunky. And that's why there haven't been a lot of fights this year, And it's also why a lot of bears didn't come to the falls, because the cameras in Katmai National Park for all of this on explore.org, they're at Brooks Falls. And Brooks Falls is the more difficult place to hunt. I mean, it's a great fishing environment, but it's where all the bears congregate. So if you're a mama bear, you may not bring your bears there, your cubs there, unless you have to. Like Grazer brings her cubs every year, because Grazer has no F's to give. And she'll stand up to anybody.
She lost a cub last year.
She lost a cub to Chunk.
She had a cub to give, though, apparently. Well, the story...
This is wild. You know way too much stuff about bears.
100%. No, I know way too much.
I thought it was like
about
a bit,
this.
like a bit at first, and then I realized this is serious.
It started out as a bit, and then it turned into a colossal waste of time.
It then devolves into his knowledge about Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and all of the bears that are out there.
It translates to football right here, in that Grazer's going for a three-peat.
I was going to ask you, UConn couldn't three-peat. The Chiefs couldn't three-peat.
Yeah.
Can Grazer three-peat? Can we finally get a three-peat this year?
If I had any guts in me whatsoever, I would be asking Andy Reid today about his advice for Grazer trying to three-peat.
Please do. I know
Can
it's
you
a fast,
actually do?
I know it's a
Do you have
fast Friday,
stones?
but please.
I don't have the stones to do that.
I know it's a fast Friday, but please,
I want
Matt.
to badly.
What are the odds? A scale of 1 to 10. So what?
The world
Odds that I'll ask?
Yes, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, count us down from 3, 2, 1, and then we both will say our number on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
If it's the same number, you have to ask Andy.
He's going to say the number, or you and I are going to.
No, you count down from 3, and we'll we'll try and guess scale of 1 to 10. If it's the same number, then he has to do it.
A scale of 1 to 10 that he's going to ask it.
It's not that hard. It's called odds are. It's a game. So on a scale of 1 to 10, numbers of 1 to 10, Matt, Derek, and I have to on the. You say
odds of what?
him asking.
That's what I asked.
I can do it.
That's what I asked.
Darcy,
Is
Jason
one of
doesn't
the-
understand how numbers
I
work.
understand how numbers work, but do you understand when somebody says the odds of what happening? The odds of, we'll say a number and it's got to be the odds. The odds of what? A car getting into a car accident outside the window?
We
the
knew.
Chiefs winning the Super Bowl?
We knew this whole thing. I
Cool,
feel like Jason.
but what about the
Percentage
listeners,
of the
Sterling?
chance he's
We
going
said
to
it
ask
first.
the question.
That's my point.
You didn't listen.
That's my point.
You didn't
I was
listen.
getting clarification.
He didn't listen.
You didn't listen on an
Darcy,
explanation.
count us
Good
down from,
God.
Well, it really is counterintuitive, because if you're saying that if all of us say the same number and I have
and
to
then you
ask
have to
you,
He
do
doesn't
it.
have to do it. You and I. It's
just
mano
you and
y
me. Oh, I
mano.
thought it
so
was the
you
three
didn't.
of us.
You
counting.
didn't understand it either, Matt. Oh, weird. Looks like there was only one person that understood it in this room.
Grow up and
I bet-
understand how odds are work. It's a great game.
I bet the listeners were totally on
I
board
thought,
since
I thought
Matt
there
and I are
was
in the same
more
room
than, I
and
just thought
didn't
there was more than
understand.
two competitors.
No, it's just you and me.
Okay.
Mano y mano.
All right.
If it's the same number, when he counts down,
Yeah.
you and I say at the exact same time. If it's the same number, you have to ask Andy Reid, is Grazer going to three-peat or
Just do
just
it.
in general?
So
okay.
we go. Is it 3, 2, 1, go, or
3,
go on
2, 1,
one?
go.
3, 2. Okay.
All right. Darcy, count us down.
3, 2, 1, go.
7.
0.
You can't do 0. 1 to 10. That's literally said 1 to
Then
10.
1.
Why would you say?
Gosh.
We're done
mean-
with this game because Matt Derrick said, "I'm not asking the question," and your odds of him
7.
asking the question was 7. That's
No,
the
that's
worst.
not how it works. If it's the same number, scale of 1 to 10. If he says 7 and I say 7,
Why would he say 7? He just said he's not
I
going to
just said
answer the
I would. No,
question.
that's not the
He's
point.
not going to ask the
He's
question.
saying
Basically,
number.
just pick a random
Yes.
number. And if
Thank you,
match-
Darcy. Thank you. You understand how life works.
Do you understand what
Darcy gets it.
Do you understand what strategy is, Sterling? Just a random
I
number.
was just
But
supposed
it's
to
not
choose
just
a
a random
random
Seven's
number.
the most common number that people say every single time. I get people all the time on this. This is the 7 comes up almost every single time.
Does 7 come up with somebody that said, "I'm not doing this"?
That's
well,
not the
let's
odds
guess.
of them doing it. It's just you pick a random number from 1 to 10.
That's not what you said.
It's
You
a
said-
random number.
You said if we pick the
The
number,
game's
of the
called odds
the
are.
odds of him doing it.
The
That's
game's-
what you were
Darcy
picking.
gets it, don't you? Darcy understands.
Darcy, you said no,
Darcy
no.
gets it.
Darcy, hold on.
Darcy gets it.
Darcy, you said the number that they're going to say is the odds of Matt Derrick asking Andy. You said that, right?
The
no,
game's
that's
called
what Darcy
odds
said.
are.
Darcy said the game that you're picking
I
the
don't even
number
remember
between
what I said.
1 and 10 is that
You just guess a random number from 1 to 10. If it's the same number, then he doesn't.
you didn't say that. You didn't say that.
I didn't think anyone was this. This is now I understand why you argue with people on Twitter.
No,
I get it now.
and I understand
I
why.
get it.
I understand why people
Man,
don't understand what you're saying because you are explaining it in your mind, but not explaining it verbally.
It's correct.
I just want to say, now you,
Oh my
I was listening.
God.
I was listening to the Twitter thing, and I just want to go off on this tangent for a moment,
Please.
because I
Anything.
avoid broad generalities, so I'm not going to say because it's not everybody. It's usually, as in most things,
Small subset,
it's
yeah.
like 3 people who ruin it for everybody else. So I'm just going to say that there's 1% of Swifties that just do not get anything. they just don't understand. And I mean, and once again, I mean, it's the 1% of Swifties on Twitter. So we're talking about. I mean, I realize that's still like a few million people, but. Come on, I mean,
Are you talking about when
these
Travis
folks-
Kelce, like if anyone said that Travis Kelce dropped that ball and it's all about like how he
Well-
did everything right besides that and blaming Butker for missing a 59-yarder?
I
saw a lot of those.
I saw some of that, but I asked both both Patrick and Coach this week, and I'm planning on asking Travis if he's in the locker room today, and he will grant us the opportunity. But because on his podcast on Wednesday, he said they put a lot on my plate.
Yeah.
And that was the premise of my question: is that if Travis is saying that they put a lot on his plate, do you need to take something off his plate? Is
He's not
there
a
too
hungry bear
much?
anymore.
Because
He's not too much salmon.
That's
I
right.
mean, because if one of you guys came to me, and a coworker came to me, friend came to me, and said, "Hey, they put a lot on my plate," I'm going to say, "What can we do to get some of that off your plate?" Now, I said this, and then, of course, the first response back that I got from a Swiftie was that he never said that. So I pointed to the transcript, and then I was informed he would never say that. Well, just literally the transcript of what he said. And then I was told that that's not what he meant when he said that they put a lot on his plate. What he means is that they've put a lot of money on his plate.
Oh my God!
And
Are you
therefore
serious?
He's having to live up to his contract.
Oh my
live up
God.
to his responsibilities.
Did you know
And
that
that's
you were
why-
arguing
I
with a
couldn't do it.
13-year-old girl?
Yeah, but I couldn't do it.
I mean, I assumed I was just arguing with a 27-year-old Russian, but
See, and that's what I'm saying. This is where my issue comes in as well, Matt. It would be hard for me to just walk away from that. It'd be hard for me.
I
to
finally
just,
did. I mean, once I hit mute
what?
on the thread, all the comments stopped,
my God.
and I got happy. I mean, I do understand that apparently there's some message boards that don't like me.
Speaking of,
but you know what?
speaking
I'm
of,
okay with
There's
that.
there are Swifty message boards that don't like you.
Apparently, there's still some things.
But see,
Yeah.
the Fat Bear Week message boards would love you if you asked Andy Reid that question.
Well,
today.
they would, and I mean, but
What are the
I
odds of you asking Andy Reid that question today?
Zero.
Zero.
I mean, 'cause I
we
have
guessed
no
at the
guts
same time.
whatsoever.
Now you have to ask it.
That's
Apparently,
not how
according to
they
I
the
have
that
no
would be
guess.
actually
I mean-
technically.
If I had the guts to walk into the locker, I have a better chance of walking into the locker room. This would be higher odds of me just saying, "Hey, anybody here follow Fat Bear Week?" And then just find some because
Dude,
I
that
know
would be amazing.
I
Okay,
know
so
there
you
are
do
some
that.
players who are aware of it, mostly because it's, I think their girlfriends watch. But,
Speaking of walking, that's what it feels like these Chiefs running backs are doing right now.
well, walking,
because might be more efficient.
I mean, I'm going to say it right now. Walker is
No.
my favorite to
There you
win
go.
this year. 151
the
Walker.
Sterling, the transition is why can't these running backs eat in this game?
That's another good one.
Why is
because right
Pacheco
now,
ranked 47th out of 47th according to PFF?
In what odds are games or running football?
I don't know everything.
Okay.
A lot of reasons. I mean, I don't.
Step in a
I mean, I
second.
honestly don't think that it's one specific thing. I mean, is one specific thing that. I mean, the injuries have taken their toll, and Isaiah Pacheco is not the same guy that he was a couple of years ago. Yeah, I think that's probably legitimate. Are the Chiefs having some game planning issues? Yeah, we know that because they're not in the first quarter. This was the numbers that I looked up from earlier this week. In the first quarter, first and second down, which is generally your scripted plays, the Chiefs are 28th in the league, 3.7 yards a play. In on first and second downs, in the second, third, and fourth quarters, they're averaging 6 yards a play. So obviously, once they get going,
Yeah.
they're doing okay. Now the run game is not doing anything. And that's why maybe this might be just one of those, get the ball to Pat and let Pat cook.
Right.
But hey, are the running backs running well? No. I mean, neither Pacheco or Kareem have a lot of explosiveness right now. You know that with Kareem. I mean, he's a short yardage back at this point.
But
in
at
his
least he's
career.
got vision with
But
no explosiveness.
the-
we at least think he does.
The offensive
you know?
line hasn't been perfect, and in
Right.
theory, run blocking should be its strength, but it's not.
Yeah.
Coaching is an issue. Play calling is an issue. I mean, everything's an issue.
Let me ask you that, though, because it's an interesting point and something that I wanted to bring up with you anyway, because I know that you and Nick Jacobs, talk about the offensive line a great deal. You guys are very in tune with what goes on with the offensive line and things like that. When you talk about the offensive line being a strength, especially guard to guard, of running the football, why is it then? Is it the scheme, the game plan of why they aren't better at running the football between the tackles when that seems to be like that would be the Kingsley, better run blocker than a pass blocker. Trey Smith, better run blocker than a pass blocker. Creed Humphrey, just a damn fine player overall as a center, and he can move some guys. I mean, Omar Norman Locke talked about now I know why Creed Humphrey is so good, because I couldn't get around that guy in the run game, and this guy sealed me off. And Omar Norman Lott was also trying to play the one, putting on extra weight, and Creed Humphrey was like, yeah, you're not doing it. So do you have a theory, or is there a reason or something that you or Nick are seeing as to why there hasn't been success between the tackles when that should be the strength of the guard-to-guard is run blocking?
Yeah, I mean, some of this, I think, absolutely still goes back to the Super Bowl. And one aspect, and Nick did a really good job of kind of laying this out with some video earlier in the week on social media.
Oh, shoot, I missed that.
Is
I need to
that,
check it out.
I mean, the Chiefs, run blocking wise, have been scheme wise, but doing the same thing for a long time. Yeah. And Vic Fangio, remember, you gave Vic Fangio and the Eagles 2 weeks last year, and they picked apart what the Chiefs did scheme-wise. And, I mean, it just put on display for the rest of the league that, hey, and so that's one of the things that I expected, that the Chiefs to come back and do some of their self-scouting in the offseason and say, hey, wait a minute, you know what? The Eagles just revealed the pattern and what you have to do to pick apart our blocking schemes. So maybe that's the one thing you should absolutely change up, and add some. And because let's face it, I mean, the Chiefs have gotten away from some of the stuff that used to be their bread and butter, especially in the run game. I mean, outside zone used to be they're just absolute killer. I mean, they ran it into the ground because nobody could stop them. Well, that was because they had Jamal Charles and Kareem Hunt and Jameon Williams.
They had guys that were explosive with vision.
And then they got away from having the athletic offensive linemen that could block that. Screens the same way. They've gotten away from the screen game. And that's so much of what Andy Reid does. And they've gotten away from that, for, a couple of reasons. One is, like we talked about, they don't have a ton of speed in the backfield right now. So you don't really have, outside Brashard Smith, you don't have and maybe Elijah Mitchell, you don't have an outside zone runner. So since you don't have that, you can't really run a lot of outside zone. Screen game takes details in coaching, and maybe it's because they got some young guys that they feel like that they just can't get those details done, because they used to spend an entire day at training camp on the screen game, and we don't see that anymore. I mean, they've just gotten away from that. So some of it is that they've gotten away from their best Andy Reid stuff, and then two, their blocking schemes have been the same thing for half a decade. Everybody's figured it out, and especially after Vic Fangio showed, 85 million people or whatever watched the Super Bowl how to beat the Chiefs.
I want to hear from Matt Nagy on the other side of the break, and what we're going to do is we're going to play a game called Odds Are. Now, we're not guessing what the odds are for anything. It's just the name of the game. So what we're going to do, Matt, is guess a number between 1 and 10, any number whatsoever, and it doesn't have to be related to anything like odds specific. It's just that's the name of the game. So between 1 and 10, and if we guess the same number, we'll go to break. All right? You ready?
Right now?
Yes. 3, 2, 1.
8.
8. I want to hear from Matt Nagy here in just a second when asked about more plays from under center. But shout out to Cajun on Twitter. Sort of in Princess Bride, when you've got the negotiation, if you want to call it that, when they're going back and forth with the Sicilian, and you've got the, you don't go to war with China, land war with China. So shout out to Cajun. It's a meme from that scene. And it says, the Chiefs didn't run the ball well. The Giants can't stop the run, so only a great fool would refuse to run the ball. However, New York knows Andy Reid is not a great fool, thus expecting KC to run amok. But Reid, knowing the Giants are expecting the run, will throw the ball 50 times for 187 yards and 3 INTs, which is good. However, you knowing that I think that you know that you poisoned the drink, obviously you would not put the drink in front of me. Here's Matt Nagy when asked about maybe running the ball a little bit more from under center. Here is his answer from yesterday.
What I would say to that part, so a couple parts to that. Number one is the team. Who are you? Are you a running team? Are you a passing team? And then the next level to that is when you do decide to run the ball. I think what you're insinuating is a little bit of, we call them breather runs per se, and almost for Pat, they're breather runs where it might not be the RPO style where there's less decision making. It's more just downhill at you. So are we more of a gun run team? Yes. Are we looking at dot runs as well, what you're getting to? 100%. So we're really trying to evaluate what are we best at. I think the biggest thing that we're probably all tackling in this room right now that you guys are probably wondering and asking and we want to get to as soon as we can is what is our identity? And that's across the league. Everyone starts to create one. And the sooner you find that identity on offense with the players you have, the better you can be. So to your question, the dot runs, downhill, we call them breather runs are certainly a part of it.
My question is, why would going under center to run the ball have to just be a breather for Patrick Mahomes? Why can't that just be part of your game plan, that going under center, running the football, is just a play? It's not, well, let's give Pat a breather, which also goes to show that the mindset of the Chiefs is that, and where what I think you start to stack the pressure on Mahomes, which why I could understand when everything is sort of going on around him. We say, like, why can't you just hand the ball off? Like, the running game is a great friend to a quarterback. And we were talking about the Bills and Dolphins last night that Josh Allen could go 3 plays in a row from under center and just give the ball to James Cook. Why? The Chiefs are just telling you right there. When they go under center and hand the ball off, that's a breather for Patrick Mahomes. Because every other play is on Patrick Mahomes to decide throwing it, running it, audible, checking out, except for under center runs. 4 runs a game? So you're saying if they run 50, 60 plays, 46 to 66 of those plays, or 46 to 56 of those plays are on Mahomes in his mind pre-snap and what to do after the ball is snapped? Mahomes is great, and he's, the best in the league. But eventually, can you take something off his plate with the players he has to play with right now? Matt, is this a personnel problem? Is it a play call problem? Or is it a combination of that to where the play call is not connected to the personnel?
All of the above?
Yeah, I know. It's probably all of the above. It's always a mixture of all of those things, right?
And because I kept meaning to look this up, and it was not available in the first place. I looked some. Knowing you, Jason, and how researched you are, you have probably already looked this up. What percentage of plays are the Chiefs running this year from under center?
I was gonna look it up yesterday after he said that. I promise you, I was. But what I did go back and look at the last time the Chiefs ran the ball first play of the game under center, because against the Eagles they ran the ball under center first play of the game. So how often does that happen? They ran the ball under center. They picked up 7 yards. Now they had incomplete after that. So when we're saying, can the first drive early on, can you take a little bit off Mahomes' plate? Well, they had 2nd and 3, and he missed Noah Gray. They had 3rd and 3, and Hollywood Brown got knocked down, and then Mahomes tried to throw back across his body to Brashard Smith, and it was incomplete, and they had to punt. But they had 2nd and 3rd and 3. That's where you want to be in that situation, handing off under center. The last time they handed the ball off under center to start a game was the Cleveland Browns game. So they went the final 6 games of the season last year out of the shotgun first play, and the first game of the season this year out of the shotgun first play. Every one of those was a run except for Buffalo AFC Championship game and Eagles Super Bowl. Those were RPOs completed for first downs, both of them.
And you kind of hit on the other part of the problem in that sentence, which was every one of them was a run.
Shotgun run. Shotgun handoff.
Everybody, I mean, the most common, once again, I mean, I'm going back to what I'm getting comments on social media, which is not necessarily the healthiest or the best source of information.
I think it's the best.
And it wasn't even just on social media.
Most accurate.
It was in public too, running into people and talking to people. It was like at the
Emails.
Letters, telegrams, letters. Everything I was hearing from Chiefs fans last week was just like, as long as the first play of the game is not a run, they're happy. Everybody in the NFL knows the Chiefs are running the ball in the first play.
But they also gained 7 yards on that first play run under center. I was shocked that it wasn't out of the shotgun. I was asking, just don't go shotgun first play. Because, again, I don't think there's a coincidence, Matt, in that, and this is where I think Andy Reid, does he save something? Does he do this? Does he save something for the playoffs? I don't think it's a coincidence that the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl are the 2 times in that stretch from Cleveland to Sunday where they went in shotgun and threw the ball on the first play twice. And both of them were first downs. It was a fake it to Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, 11 yards against Buffalo. Fake it to Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, another 10 yards. When he had that first down, he does a little thing where he does underarm, almost like a rugby touchdown a little bit. And it was back. It's like, okay, here comes Hollywood Brown game. Chiefs are going to be rolling. Fake the handoff, Juju Smith-Schuster over the top of the Bills and had that long run down the field. They scored a touchdown on that drive. Eagles, first play, fake the handoff, fake the throw to Xavier Worthy out, slant to Juju, 11 yards. All of these runs. Then he gets in the playoffs, and boom, we just got a 10, 11-yard play based on what you were expecting us to run the ball. So how much of that then is Andy Reid, Matt, saying, yeah, we run the ball first play, but it's also creating our strategy for the battle that we're going to play at the end of the year rather than this battle in week 2.
And that's awesome. I mean, another absolutely fantastic point, which is that, and this is where I think that Andy Reid is one of the best in the game, because he's absolutely running things in the first 2 weeks of the season simply because he wants them on film. He wants to show some teams a specific look, what they're going to do, and then play off of that later on. Mm-hmm. You're going to see the same look somewhere down the road, and they're going to do something different on it. They're not going to do the same thing. I mean, unless it's a play that really works, in which case they'll run it a few times.
If they see the Eagles in the Super Bowl, they might go under center and then play action off that.
Exactly. I mean,
they hand it off to Pacheco, picked up 7 yards under center.
He's trying to set something up for later on. I mean, and that's where it gets into the other tricky part, which is that now you've got stuff that you probably want to run, not only because you think it's going to work, but also because you want to play off of that and show that look later on. But now you're doing it without the guys that you had planned for that.
That's good. That's a good point.
And that's where it gets into, okay, what? Was it the first or second play of the game against the Chargers was the sweep to Xavier Worthy?
Yep, the handoff to Worthy.
Have we seen a jet sweep since then?
I mean, that wasn't. Can that even be considered a jet sweep?
I mean,
though?
It wasn't really. No,
because he went in motion, ran to the backfield, then ran the other way. He didn't just go. I haven't seen it in a while. Did we see it against the Eagles or the Bills?
I don't think that we saw a jet sweep against the Eagles at all. I mean, I could be mistaken. Maybe there was one that just bypassed me.
The only thing that was close was they had Xavier Worthy against the Eagles early on, went in motion, and then around Patrick Mahomes where he took the snap and he threw the Worthy on the outside going in that direction, which set up an open space one-on-one with Cooper DeJean. I'll let you know what happened. I'll let you guess what happened on that one. And that is one of the best open field tacklers tackled a guy who's not a tackle breaker for like a 2-yard gain, whereas if Worthy were to get past that, it's like a 20-yard gain. But that's why Cooper DeJean is Cooper DeJean. But you don't see it very often, Sterling.
Maybe I'm being naive here, but it feels like this is way too much work just for – I mean, seriously, like at some point it's all these mental games and look at all this stuff. And it's like Just get 5 yards. Just get 5 yards on first down. Why are we overthinking every single thing? Just go out and bleep and do it. You have the highest paid offensive line in football, the best quarterback. Not everything's rocket science. You're overthinking everything here. Like, I'm not saying you guys are overthinking, but at times, I'm like, you're bleeping. It's first down.
Yeah.
It's the start of the game. I know they might do this or they could do this. Just bleep and get the 5 yards. Just, run under center. Stop the RPO. Just... Yeah. My mind gets blown at the perpetual overthinking instead of saying, we have the horses, let them run.
Honestly, like, this is where it comes back a little bit to Patrick Mahomes, and he would say that. What are we talking about early in that game if he hits Noah Gray on the corner route against cover 2? Under center, handoff, 7 yards, 25-yard gain to Noah Gray. You're at midfield right now. After that punt by the Eagles, they went and punted the ball. You get the ball, and boom, you're at midfield 2 plays later, a 40-yard line 2 plays later, under center, and just an easy cover 2 look. Kelsey runs outside. They bite on Kelsey, hit Noah Gray over the top. Now we're going. Now you're rolling. We might be having a different conversation today, but he missed that. And then they did the whole overthinking. Play action, roll to the right. Hollywood's going to run the Xavier Worthy / Tyreek Hill. Fake inside, go outside only. Hollywood gets knocked on his ass. So Mahomes is over there with nobody to throw to. So then he's looking, and Brashard Smith is sort of flashing. So he throws to Brashard Smith, but they didn't connect because Brashard Smith has been here 5 minutes, and now you're punting on that one. So there's a little bit of the just get the 3 yards, just get the 4 yards. I do think that's where they miss Rashee Rice. Because
absolutely,
Rashee Rice is the only guy I can think of in a while, including Kelsey, because Kelsey did it differently, Matt, that you could just throw the ball to Rashee Rice and say, here's 7 or 8 yards because he's that big.
And, you get to overthinking things, and this is where, and maybe it's a philosophical difference, and maybe it's just, bias, and I don't mean a bias in just, wanting to confirm your own beliefs or your thoughts or anything or your perceptions here. It might just be, and maybe in my case it is that, because I look at the numbers, and so maybe it's number bias in my case. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Travis Kelce's usage, and it's just like, there's no way that this guy can continue to play this number of snaps at his age and be fresh, either within a game or for a 17 to 21 game season. It's just, how are you best managing Travis Kelce's time? And there was one play in particular that I was just like, they got Travis Kelce lined up in the backfield where he was essentially ended up playing a fullback role. He kind of moved out and everything like that, then being a blocker on a run play. And it's like, seriously? One, you're probably playing Travis Kelce too many snaps as it is, because he needs to be fresher. There's no doubt about that. I think even go back to last year, there were plays that I don't think it was lack of effort. And people going back to the Super Bowl and saying that they saw a lack of effort. No, what I saw last year, and in the Super Bowl in particular, was a dude that was exhausted because he's 35 years old, and he's trying to play as many snaps as possible because Patrick doesn't have his receivers. He's got guys banged up. And he feels like he has to be out there for him. Travis probably needs, based on like the pace that he's on right now, because I think he's at 97 snaps this year.
He is, so he's on pace for 124.
And
824. Geez,
yeah, 824.
He's on pace for 824, which would be the 2023 when he played 15 games. He had 775.
Yeah.
Before that, 824 would be the fewest of his career, except for his first full year in 2014 when he played 668.
And based on that alone, you were saying to yourself, Travis Kelce probably needs to be playing at least 10 fewer snaps a game.
I agree, yeah.
That would at least get you under 700.
Last year, do you know how many snaps he played? You probably do. But last year, he played in 16 games, 940 snaps, which is the third highest of his entire career. 940 snaps was the third highest. 2018, he played 993. 2019, he played 971. 940 is the next, and then 940 last year as a freaking 35-year-old. He put up almost 200 more plays over the course of the regular season from age 34 to 35. Why?
Especially when you just signed Noah Gray to an extension as well.
And especially when he's sort of playing at a higher weight than maybe you would like him to, and even he's saying that he is.
And this is interesting because it comes back to some conversations that I've had with people behind the scenes and everything. And on the positive, they will say and they will tell you, hey, Travis is in better shape this year than he's been in a long time. And that's great. That can absolutely be true. That doesn't mean that you have more stamina.
Yeah.
I mean, at 35, he's going to be 36 years old here in a couple of
October
weeks.
5th.
Let's face it. I mean, he's going to be 36.
So we're a few weeks away from him being 36 years old.
And we all, at that age, at 35, 36, one, you are no longer getting stronger. You are no longer getting faster. You are no longer gaining stamina.
Go to
you are
Heartland Men's Health.
losing all three of those things.
Heartland Men's Health can help him. I mean, it's probably illegal, but
Probably
I'm just
illegal,
saying.
but yeah.
Saying.
So the only thing that you can do, the only thing that better shape is going to do for you at that point is to slow that process.
Yeah.
So that, maybe if you got the stamina, and this is the thing, I mean, if Travis Kelce was healthy enough to play 770 snaps 2 years ago, and he's in better shape, then you'd say, hey, maybe he could just slow down maybe 700 snaps. Doesn't mean he can play 940. And then you add on, I mean, and this is where I want to go through, because, I mean, I know how long that Tony Gonzalez played, but remember, Tony Gonzalez, bless his heart, never played a playoff game. So Travis Kelce's probably added 2 more seasons of playoff snaps on top of what Tony Gonzalez ever did. And that's not knocking, I'm not knocking Tony here. I'm just saying that that's just the reality of it. And I also think that the game has changed, even in the short period of time where we're talking about Tony Gonzalez and Travis Kelce. I think that the wear and tear that Travis Kelce's face is different than Tony Gonzalez. So that's why I don't think that it's reasonable to expect that Travis can be putting up the same maybe numbers and snap counts that Tony G was at this point in his career, because they're two different guys.
1,400.
Gronk was retired by this point.
Gronk retired
Twice.
at 32 years old in 2021, and that's also not including he retired in 2019 and didn't play a year.
He retired twice before he was Travis's age right now.
To your question, 1,451 snaps in the playoffs for Travis Kelce in his career.
That's 2 full seasons, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at 2 years ago when he played 775, you're looking at 2 full seasons, and now let me look at oh shoot, I pressed the wrong button there. Sorry. Tony Gonzalez, his playoff career snaps are at 122. So
even less than I thought.
Travis Kelce has
guy.
played essentially 1,300 more snaps in the postseason in his career than Tony Gonzalez did.
Yeah,
in his career in the postseason. That's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean,
2 full seasons worth of extra plays.
And that's why we're not talking about even Travis Kelce being a 35-year-old player. We should be talking about him being a 37-year-old player, getting ready to turn 38.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, I mean, and we're talking about, I mean, I know he missed his rookie year and all, but again, I mean, that doesn't make things better. I mean, having microfracture knee surgery doesn't make your life easier.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep. Sterling, you were to say something? It's okay if you don't, because we're going to go to break. But I
was just going to say, I just think, again, it's just crazy to me. He's a half year younger than Gronkowski. Now, Gronk came into the NFL younger, right, because he was 21. Kelce was 24 when he came in. But again, I just can't keep getting over that, he retired in 2019 at age 30. Gronk again retired at age 32 in 2021. I mean, that's 4 years ago. And Kelce is still going. And even when he was back playing, it's not like Gronk was asked to be the guy those last 2 years in Tampa Bay. I mean, Gronk played 16 games, a full season, 3 times his entire career.
As we go to break, I need to correct something, because I'm just seeing this at Pro Football Reference. So I said 122, and you said that's way lower than I thought it was going to be. It is way lower because they don't have the snap counts before 2013.
Oh, there you go.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games of playoffs that Tony Gonzalez does not have. So let's do the math. Let's
5
say
times
he played
60.
60.
Yeah. Probably 400 something.
300 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So that would put him at 420, something like that. Nice.
And one quick button on this one, too. I'm trying to look up, how old is George Kittle?
30.
George Kittle is 31 years old. About to be 30. About to be 32.
I think he's 31, about to be 32.
Dare I say washed?
He's often injured.
I wouldn't say washed. I think he's still a really good player. I think he's oft injured is probably the way to put it. But he the last 4 seasons he played 14, 15, 16, 15.
It's a little surprising.
But his numbers are way down, too. I mean, he's not the guy that he was 5 years ago.
It was like Mike Williams, where he's always injured, and you look it up, and you're like, wait, how do you always play like 15, 16 games a year?
George Kittle has literally come from nowhere, just not even in the league.
Iowa.
Rose up to be as competitive with Travis Kelce, being one of the best tight ends in the league, is now already on the downward slide of his career. And, dude, I mean, to your
what
point
about Mark Andrews? Mark Andrews just turned 30.
And Kelce still had 20 more receptions last year than George Kittle did in a season in which George Kittle was the best.
I think it's 50-50 who retires first.
That's a good
What about
question.
Mark Andrews? Mark Andrews is 30, just turned 30 years old.
He does look old.
He hasn't had a really great season since 2021. Remember that? The whole conversation.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce in 2020.
He
That's
had
4
Achilles,
years ago.
didn't he?
He had 2 of them, I think. I think he had 2 Achilles. I don't know if they popped or not.
The reason
I was being a smartass. I was doing that.
The reason he's
great.
fallen
That was
off so
great, by the
much
way.
is obvious. I mean, you don't last long if you went to Oklahoma. Let's be honest. More zone next. All right, wrapping up the segment with Matt Derrick. We got to get into this matchup with the Giants coming up this weekend. All right, Matt, what do you think of this matchup, Chiefs and Giants, in a, I don't know, some people call it a must-win. I've called it a can't-lose game. I think there's a difference between must-win and can't-lose.
It's half glass, half full.
Right, must-win.
There.
Must-win to me is you're eliminated from the playoffs if you don't win that one. It's a must-win, you cannot lose.
Correct.
A can't-lose to me is you can't lose this one because now you're in real dire straits, and Sterling will come up with a song that'll be cool.
Yeah,
to connect
I'll say you're just giving these guys money for nothing. And their chicks for free.
That's right.
Putting all that money on the plate.
That's right. What is
Sultans of Swing Pass needs to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you like about the matchup?
I mean, you're putting it the right way. It's not a must-win. It's a should-win.
Yeah.
It's a mismatch. I mean,
win.
the Giants' defense thus far has been horrific. So if this offense can't get well against this defense, there's a problem. Hey, their strength is up front. So, yeah, you like for your offensive line to be able to handle these guys a little bit because they've got some guys who can get after the passer. They can win at the line of scrimmage. They just can't win anywhere else. So you got to be able to pick apart the secondary. You should be able – I mean, if you're ever going to run the football, it should be this week. You can find some opportunities to run because, again, you should be able to get a lead against this team and play the game plan that you want to play and not just get – and parts of the game plan that the Chiefs don't want to be running from behind again. So if you get a lead, I don't think you're going to give it up against this team. The only thing you're really worried about, I think, with Russell Wilson is the deep ball.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous with the deep ball against the Cowboys. Cowboys did not defend it well. Didn't play very good defense. I mean, questionable about how good the Cowboys are going to be this year.
Stan Weber.
I mean, we really don't know what to make of them.
By the way, Stan Weber, diehard Cowboys fan,
Sure.
just laid into Matt Eberflus this morning.
Well, there you go.
And it's interesting because there was that graphic that went around about the percentage that teams are playing on defense, cover 0, cover 1, cover 2, and then the zones. And the Cowboys are the only team that had any man-to-man as 0%. Every single and Stan Weber was like, Matt Eberflus is the most generic. He's terrible. Do not take what Russell Wilson and the Giants did last week against the Cowboys. Take it with a grain of salt because Matt Eberflus is terrible. He sits back in zone. It's 3rd and 2, and they're playing 8 yards off the ball, so it's an easy little dink and dunk connection with them. They just sit back in zone and they let everybody run by them, which would tell me this week if they don't play man-to-man, I'd probably take the under on Mahomes rushing because he gets a lot of those when guys are in man-to-man, and if they're just going to sit there and play zone. You might also, Matt, have the Giants say, we're going to put a spy on that guy. If that's their best play, it's not going to happen against us, whether they can stop it or not. But I thought it was really interesting. Stan Weber was like, yeah, Matt Eberflus is terrible, and that's a big reason why the Giants' offense looked great.
There you go. And like I said, as long as you don't let Russell Wilson beat you on the deep ball, he can't beat you anywhere else. He doesn't have the accuracy and the talent that he once had in the short and intermediate game, but he still throws one of the best deep balls in the world. And just make sure Malik Neighbors doesn't get behind you
or Wandell.
But Chiefs, I mean, until they win a game by more than one score, I again refuse to take them by more than one score. 27-20.
27-20.
And I shouldn't even. I mean, I don't even know why I'm thinking that this Giants defense is going to get the 20. Or offense is going to get the 20.
Could be 27-13.
Unless, of course, they just
score.
run 21 inside zone run plays in a row.
No, that was about to tush push. Come on, it had to be. That's the only thing you can do is if you take different snippets from the game and piece it together. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother. Kendall Gammon coming up next. hanging out with Kendall Gammon.
Why didn't you throw him your sausage? Right there.
Surely you're marking that.
I threw him
God, look at those hands, dude. No wonder he could, is the best long snapper that ever lived.
That's in this room.
The tagline is throw him anything or he'll juggle anything, and so I immediately threw my water bottle, which
was partly
open, and he only got a little wet. But
you know he's an amazing juggler, right? Did you know this about Kendall? Or are you?
Did he not listen to the whole thing of what was going on?
I know the intro, dude. We made
that was
the
my
intro.
point. That's why I said. That's why I said I threw him. He juggles anything you throw at him. So I threw a water bottle at him because I know he's a good juggler.
Okay,
and even
great.
says it in the intro.
But he was busy going over the top with his hat. He was
but also like
sliced alone.
But Kendall, like I think he's missing the point. Like throwing you and you catching it. That's not juggling.
I threw it for him to juggle. I was getting ready to throw my laptop.
One
too.
thing is not juggling.
Well, that's why I threw it. I said throw him your meat.
Had you thrown him 3 bowling alley pins,
then we're talking.
Then he's on fire.
Then we're good.
He came in one day a couple of years ago and he brought the pens that he juggles with, and you did the juggling on the stream for us.
So we have a stapler, a remote control, and a water bottle.
We can do that. Yes.
And scissors.
And scissors. Yes, absolutely.
Have you juggled anything that actually is sort of dangerous, like people juggle fire or swords or something?
So like sickles that you cut wheat or something with, or machetes or torches.
You've actually juggled with like machetes before?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Have you? As there have accidents?
Nope.
You do have all 10 digits.
Yeah. There you
Did
go.
you do that while playing? Was it in your contract?
I did not.
Okay.
There was no. No.
Kendall, you can't ride a motorcycle, but the juggling thing we're good with. Go ahead.
My contract was short. It was like, don't screw up, or you're gone.
Okay, but seriously, we have like
snap the football.
Some random things in here. Can you juggle?
We could juggle some random things at some point.
I think it'd be kind of fun.
I'm nothing if not random.
Good.
And you know that.
Incredibly talented.
And I love that about you.
And incredibly talented is what he is. Kendall Gammon, presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. Kendall, how you feeling as we're a couple of days away from game number 3, but an unfortunate 0-2 start to the season?
Yeah, it is what it is. It's one of 17. All the cliches, but they're true. And when it comes down to it, the New York Giants aren't what the first 2 teams were. You could make the argument those first 2 teams we lost to could be in the Super Bowl this year. So I'm not worried about it. I feel like we are going to win. That being said, you definitely don't want to be 0-3.
Are there concerns that you have with this team from the first 2 weeks? Well, let me ask you this way.
Okay.
Concerns that you have, are they couched by the opponents, or are they concerns that would be opponent independent moving forward?
Maybe opponent independent moving forward a bit, because it's the health of getting Rasheed back eventually, which happens after 6 games, and Xavier, and we think he might be on a snap count this week. So things like that. I think it's within themselves. I think they're talented enough that they can beat anybody in the league if they're playing their A game. And generally, they can beat a lot of teams playing their B game also. Yeah. But as of late, they haven't played either of those.
Yeah, you can't beat the Eagles or the Chargers playing a B game or a C game, because also we should point out, I don't think the Eagles played an A game.
No, they did not. You're right.
This was not Chiefs B game, Eagles A game.
No.
This was probably Chiefs and Eagles C plus B minus, or maybe might have been their same level of game that they would play.
Right.
It's just a play here or there in a game where both teams are playing B or C games.
Certainly.
You find a way to win, or you find a way to lose that game.
Yeah, I think it's a very fair point, and we've lauded the defense, and we should get a lot of credit because I think they did a great job. I think Spags and the secondary in particular did a phenomenal job against the Eagles, but we should also point out, as you're mentioning, that was their new OC, and there's been a lot of consternation from, again, I know a lot of people in Philly, and some of the talk has been that offense does not look very smooth. Jalen Hurts does not look great with the new OC. It looks really bland and very vanilla. They're still trying to get their feet. They're not using A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith the way we feel like they should. So I do think there's at least a fair point of that. How they'll look against the Giants, we'll see. What type of Wilson we'll see. But I
hopefully
think
it's the volleyball Wilson.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Wilson. But I do think that Spags deserves a lot of credit. But again, the point remains, the lack of pressure with the front four is still very concerning.
And it's interesting where the Eagles are, Kendall. I want to get into the pressure with the front four, but to Sterling's point, where the Eagles are, they're 2-0 on the season. They came to Kansas City and won the game, right? And one of the headlines out of Philly is Nick Sirianni knows that Kevin Patullo is built to deal with all the criticism so far. Because that's the new offensive coordinator.
Wow.
They're,
Right.
they're in the position of the Chiefs.
Right.
That the Chiefs were winning games, and it was like, they're not winning by enough. They don't look good enough because it doesn't look early in the year like it did in the playoffs. And people are thinking Eagles starting the year, what it looked like against the Commanders and then the Chiefs. New OC, it's slower developing. The depth of target is like at the line of scrimmage or below. A.J. Brown only has a few receptions, and you're not able to move the ball against the Chiefs that are blitzing 2/3 of the time. But it's like you're 2-0, but the talk in Philly, like Sterling said, is how bad the new offensive coordinator is, and can they make the Super Bowl with this guy?
That's what happens when you're successful.
Yeah.
Is the fans? Fan is short for fanatical, and they expect a lot, and they get used to it. Certainly, we have here in Kansas City. So being 0-2, new blood for sure. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And then, I mean, let's be honest. It's Philadelphia fans, and they have a different slant. They have a different take to things. They are different.
Let me ask you
As
from
I
this-
remember playing
yes,
there.
let me ask you from this standpoint, because I've talked about this the last couple of years and why people have been frustrated watching Chiefs just simply win games. And it's like, well, they're going to win, so there's a calm or a confidence watching the games that they play. Last year, even as if they're losing, it's like, man, they're going to find a way to win. So I don't watch Chiefs games the way that
Right.
I did back in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s before Patrick Mahomes, and really 2000 early 20s before it was like, all right, dude, this is, you know what's happening here.
Right.
So the first couple of weeks, I've been pretty calm watching the games, and they didn't win. Okay, that sucks. But I also have a different view of, I know this is all about January, and I also know, one, they don't need the bye, and two, they don't have to only play at Arrowhead to win. We saw that 2 years ago. But the frustration that I talked about last week and last 2 years, Kendall, is we get 17 times a year where we get to watch the Chiefs play football. And if one of those times is a Chiefs can't move the ball, frustration, looks like they're, playing in the mud, the game's over, and it's like, that was so unappealing
Right.
and not appetizing whatsoever. And now I got to wait another week and hope it happens. So I understand why Eagles fans, you win the Super Bowl, you play that way against the Commanders and the Chiefs, and you spend all offseason talking about what the next year is going to be. And you have a couple of games that are sort of lackluster in terms of entertainment value and all the points and dominance. You're like, well, this is kind of annoying because I've been waiting all this time to get to see him play. They won, but they scored 23 points in doing that. And I didn't really find myself being as entertained as I was to end the season because you get spoiled to a degree.
True.
But I think that's also where some frustration comes in around here, in that it's like we remember the offense, how much fun it was week in and week out. Just a blast to watch the Chiefs offense and watch the Chiefs play football and Patrick Mahomes. And that's just been missing since 2022. And you only get 17 times guaranteed to watch this team play. 2 of them are gone, and 2 of those have been, this offense is not fun to watch anymore, and maybe Sunday will be the breakout. And you just want it to be entertaining again.
I agree. I think back to several years when this all started, and I remember, those third and mediums, third and longs.
Third and
even.
Mahomes.
I didn't have an issue with that. I mean, it just seemed like we could run dig routes, we could run go routes, we could run anything, and we were going to pick the yardage up. I do think the NFL's caught up to us a little bit. And when I say us, I mean, Patrick and what he does and how you try to keep him inside the pocket and do different things. But in general, it comes back to what you said, is we just get used to it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, no matter how good you do, there's some people that are always going to find fault, and that is what it is. So it's not an issue. But when it comes down to it, I think they'll get the ship righted. But this last week, and even the week before, more so, it did seem disjointed. It just it didn't seem like normal, and I can't even explain that, but it did not seem what it's been in the past, even when we weren't winning pretty.
The and to that degree, Kendall, I went back a couple nights ago because we've been talking about the first play of the game, handing off at a shotgun, first play of the game. So I went back the other night and I'm like, all right, what's the first play of the game? So I was just going back game by game by game by game just to watch the first play and to see what it looked like, just to chart it, right? Shotgun pass, shotgun handoff, under center. And I went back and pulled up the Chiefs and Bills AFC Championship game, a game in which the Chiefs scored 32 points. And the opening drive, Kendall, they get the ball at their own 10-yard line. And they march the field 10 plays, 90 yards, and a touchdown. And I watched that, and I'm going, I completely forgot that the offense at times looked like that.
Right.
It was.
I think that's fair.
It was. Let's see. Hollywood Brown 11 yards. Hollywood Brown 9 yards. Mahomes scramble for 4. Xavier Worthy 10 yards. Pacheco 3 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster 31 yards. Kareem Hunt 8 yards. Now it's 2nd and 2 at the Buffalo 14. Kareem Hunt 2 yards. Kareem Hunt left guard 12-yard touchdown. I mean, when's the last time we remember a drive? I completely forgot about that because so much happened in that game, right?
Yep.
But I completely forgot that it was a knife through butter, and it's like, wow, what an opening script from Andy. And that was with Pacheco and Hollywood Brown and Juju and Kareem Hunt. The only one missing is Xavier Worthy the last couple of weeks. But that was, this team with a bad left guard and a left guard playing left tackle, and they were able to do that against the Bills. And I'm like, man, that's what we remember.
Yeah.
It was just 10 plays, 90 yards, touchdown. You started at your own 10, and you established early. By the way, Bills, you might think you're better. We're still the Chiefs.
Well, and it seemed like the offense of Kansas City always had the defense on their heels, and they were guessing. And the
On
one
that
thing,
drive, it was
it's
brilliant.
funny. The one thing that stood out to me was when you said Hunt 12 yards for a touchdown. I mean, that's got to be his longest run in quite some time. And I feel bad for the fact that he doesn't have that burst anymore because he still has the vision. He sees the holes. If you could put how he sees things and runs into Pacheco, that would help tremendously. And I'm not trying to get on Pacheco. I just don't believe in either one of them in the run game right now. But to your original point, because I digress, which is, it doesn't look as smooth and as coordinated as it has in the past.
Yeah, they got that 31-yard pass to Juju, and they had 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 22. 3 plays later, they scored a touchdown. Kareem Hunt 8 yards, Kareem Hunt 2 yards, Kareem Hunt 12 yards. 3 runs, 22 yards to score the touchdown.
Now, the one thing about that stands out to me is, I don't think we're getting enough chunks. And even in that one, you had a chunk of 31 yards, but you still had a 10-play drive. I would like to see drives that are in the 4 to 7 time where you're getting big chunks and going there. But right now, it doesn't seem we have that capability. Certainly not getting it in the pass game, and we don't have the capability in the run game.
4 of those 10 plays were 10 or more yards on that opening drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's weird
against the Bills there.
It's weird saying this about an Andy Reid-led offense, but it just feels stale, and it feels like lack of innovation. I mean, you look at Miami, and Mike McDaniel's a bad head coach. That team's really, really bad. But you look around the NFL just in general, and you see even bad teams where you'll see some creative play calling. They're at least able to do something in the run game. Even if they don't have maybe the guys to get it done, you at least look at the scheme and you go, oh, that's pretty intriguing. That guy was open. Or look at that. Look at this over here. That was a really intriguing play call. I don't know the last time we really felt like that consistently in Kansas City. And again, I'm not saying fire Andy. I think that's just that's absurd. But has it become stale because it's been the same group of dudes for a long time? I'm not saying necessarily yes men,
right?
But Nagy's been. I'm not saying again fire Nagy. I'm just talking out loud here. Of do they need to bring someone outside of the organization in to maybe bring in fresh ideas? And if that's the case, would Andy even listen? And for all we know, Matt Nagy's coming there every single day going, what about this? What about this? What have we tried this idea? But at the end of the day, we know Andy has 51%.
Right.
And again, we don't know the exact who's to blame. I'm just trying to figure out, has it become stale? Has everyone in the organization become of one similar mind and thought? I mean, hell, Andy Heck's been in KC for, 14 years?
Andy Heck, he came with Andy Reid.
Yeah, and you
in 13,
and
so
you,
they
and you,
came together.
And you even brought this up the other day. I mean, Connor Embry's first job was in KC. How many of the
I heard you all talking about that.
Joe Blameyer, this is his 10th year with the Chiefs. His first job in the NFL is with Andy Reid. Connor Embry, 7th year with the Chiefs. His first job in the NFL was with the Chiefs. David Garrardi, 8 years with the Chiefs. His first job was with Andy Reid. And Todd Pinkston is in his 3rd year, wide receiver. Now he's a running back coach. 3rd year running back coach for the Chiefs. His first job in the NFL was with Andy Reid. Matt Nagy, all the years he's been in the NFL, his first job in the NFL was Andy Reid. Everybody except Andy Heck, that's a part of that offensive game plan in mind, learned from Andy Reid.
And he's been with Andy now for
Yeah. And by the
2
way,
decades.
he went to Chicago and took Andy Reid's offense to
Right,
Chicago.
exactly.
Got fired
Then
and
came
came back
back.
and running Andy Reid's offense.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that, and I thought that was interesting. When I look at that, first of all, I think having been around Andy Reid and knowing his personality, I think he's open to listening to anything. I think he's very confident in what he does, and he should be. I think when it comes down to it, we are 0-2. We haven't looked great, so now we don't think we're innovative. Whereas
no, but I
if
think
we were winning, if we had won in any sense, we might have some reservations, but I don't know if we would be spouting these same words or not. We might be, but I'm just saying.
but I think we've seen a decline in the offense that has been drastic. Again, nuance is needed in all of this talk.
Right.
Nuance is key, right?
I
Let's
have
have
no
a
idea
level
what that
head
means.
here. I know it's very difficult,
Yeah,
but like you look at the
so
offense,
many-
even when they're going to Super
many
Bowls
words.
and winning Super Bowls,
Yeah.
they won a Super Bowl averaging 22 points a game in a season.
Right.
22.
Yeah.
Then 21 last year, and now you're seeing this year. Yeah, they got to a Super Bowl averaging 21 points a game. In 2018, they averaged 35.
Yeah.
Now, again, part of it was the defense was so bad, so you had to score to even be in
right.
games, right? And they didn't win in 2018. So,
Right.
again, nuance is needed here. But when you have seen a drastic drop-off, again, everyone likes to point to Tyreek Hill. They averaged like 29 points a game and were one of the best offenses in the NFL the year he left.
Yeah.
Right? So,
They were the
again,
number one offense
the
in
number
the
one
NFL
offense. So, again,
22.
nuance is needed here. But when you have seen from 22 of 29 points a game to 23 to 22, then last year 21 points a game, and then you're seeing this year, it's not just been a drastic drop off from 22 to 23, but you've seen this now for 3 straight years.
2 years and 2 games, yeah.
2 years and 2 games.
Yeah.
Winning has alleviated some of the concerns.
Right.
Obviously, so I'm not just saying because they're 0-2, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But this has been in the back of our minds for at least 2 years now, and now the results aren't transpiring.
I think that's fair. And what comes to mind to me as you're saying all that is the last couple of years, I think the O-line has been in flux a lot. I think it's better this year, but it's still not there. I just thought it was very telling. I don't know if this dovetails into that or not, but I thought it was very telling this week when Patrick was talking about the fact that he has to trust his offensive line more. I mean, he has to stand in there a little bit farther and whatever. And all I heard was, for quite some time, I haven't trusted my offensive line, and now I'm gun shy. And my internal clock of when I get rid of the ball or when I go is quicker than it used to be, and I've got to figure that out. And you just don't turn that on or off. I think in that manner.
Well, I think there's habits that have sort of developed with Mahomes in the
Right.
pocket that are going to be hard to break.
And I don't blame him because I think it's it's human nature.
So you don't want to cut him, is what you're saying.
Shockingly, no. But I do think there's a situation where I'm not saying.
I hear what you're saying.
no,
I can see that. I think that's a valid
I'm just
point.
saying, let's see what Gardner Minshew can do. That's what I'm saying. All right.
No, but I feel like we've gone so far in Kansas City to just blame the offensive line for everything. When you look around the NFL, what team just can? Sure, the Eagles have had a solid 5 for a long time, but you look at Houston. And the amount of issues they have.
Thank God the Chiefs don't have
You
that
look at
offensive line.
Atlanta, you look at Minnesota, you look at San Fran. I mean, like so many every year, teams and offensive lines. I don't know why we expect it to be the same 5 because we're spoiled because of. I think the 03 years, and you remember Willie Rofe and
yeah, my teammates, absolutely.
right?
But
And
also
so,
spoiled when you have Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher as your bookends.
100%.
And a pretty good center there. So
But
you
even
got 3 of the
Chiefs fans
5.
didn't take Eric. They took
totally
Eric Fisher
agree.
for granted. Like
Totally agree.
I do think at times expectations for offensive
Yes.
line has been too high because of those teams. Just how bullpen in baseball has become. The expectation too high in Kansas City because of HDH. The Royals bullpen this year, at least last I saw, was 4th best ERA in baseball, and we complained about the bullpen this year.
Right.
And I think the offensive line in KC is the same thing.
Do you see issues with the offensive line, maybe in the run game or the pass game? When Patrick says, I need to trust the offensive line more.
I'm not saying they're perfect, by the way.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
saying they're average.
No, that's why. And
Yeah.
a guy who played offensive line, but just like he says he needs to trust the offensive line more. I have questions, Kendall, if when he's going and self-scouting and watching the tape, is he just picking and choosing like, oh, on this play, if I would have trusted him more, we could have got that pass. Whereas on his touchdown run,
Right.
if he trusted the offensive line more, that's a sack.
Right.
And
Fair.
he doesn't have that touchdown run. So are there things with this offensive line that are, I guess, fixable, improvable, and is there an element of the pocket is technically there, but Mahomes' habits have been like, I got to get outside the pocket. What are you saying, I guess, is a generic way of asking
to what you said is interesting. Is like, okay, is he just picking and choosing? Yeah, he is to a degree. And sometimes he's going to be wrong about what he's talking about. But I just think you said it earlier. He's gotten in that habit a little bit. And I think he looks at it, and I think he's fairly candid with some things, which is he sees some times where, man, if I just held on to it a little bit, I took off. And yeah, I got 10 or 15 yards, but I had a chance to maybe hit somebody open farther down the field. I mean, he recognizes that he's not supposed to take those hits. There's no doubt he's been talked to about it. But he is, what Andy Reid says is correct. He is unbelievably competitive, and he's going to go after it. And I think what I've seen the first 2 games with him in the rushing is him understanding that things aren't going the way they want in the pass game. And to a degree, I just feel like he's just been putting everything on his shoulders and going after it. And has, because of that competitiveness, almost helped single-handedly to a degree, help make it, the other direction.
We played a clip earlier of Matt Nagy saying that he was asked about more plays under center.
Right.
And he said, we call those breather plays.
I heard you talking about that. I've never heard that before.
What do you think of that? It's a breather play. That's sort of just saying that every other play is on Mahomes' shoulders in his mind of sort of figuring things out. Even if it's a run play, it's still Mahomes trying to figure out if they should run, should pass, RPO, which side. That the only time you give Mahomes a breather is if you go under center and hand it off?
Well, I thought it was interesting. You were talking about that, and I thought it was an interesting point. And I was just wondering, is this just simply how the nomenclature is? Is this just how they refer to it? And maybe they've talked to him and said, listen, we're calling this play. You know what you're doing. You don't need to worry about anything else. I don't know. That being said, even if he has to have the pressure put on him every single play, I think he welcomes it, and I think he can handle it. There's a lot of QBs in this league that probably couldn't. So I don't have as big of issue with that, but I will say this. I've heard a lot of terms through my 15 years playing and broadcasting, and I never heard that one. That was unique.
Sterling had mentioned earlier, and I said I wanted to double back and talk about it, pressuring the opposing quarterback. They didn't blitz as much in the first game, and they couldn't get to Justin Herbert. They brought everybody. Spags was like, you know what, if we've got a blitz, let's run it in this game, which, by the way, great game plan because it worked. It gave them a chance to win the game.
Yep.
But how sustainable or not is they're not putting pressure with their front 4, and they're putting a lot of pressure on their back 7 or, back
6 or 5, depending if they bring 5 or 6. No doubt about it. I think that is sustainable when you play mediocre teams and teams that aren't going to the playoffs. But when it comes down to the big games and the teams that are in it for the Super Bowl, you can't do that in my estimation. And I don't think I'm splitting atoms there. I think that's something I think Spags does a nice job of it. But eventually, I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Also,
When you look at individual players, it's very bleak. Again, I think Spags called an A+ game. I don't know if you're always going to have an A+ game called. I mean, it was not an A+ game against the Chargers, right? That was one of the worst Spags called games I think we'd seen in a while.
And he said that too, by the way. He said I was really bad when he stood
went
back and looked at the tape. He's like,
I'll say, just as an aside, there's nobody that's more candid than Spagnuolo.
It's awesome. I love it.
Really,
he's a Hall of Fame DC, and he should go in the Hall of Fame first ever. But point remains, I know Mike Dana went out early in the Eagles game with a hit, but he has 0 pressures this year. 0 on 45 snaps. That's not going to cut it. Charles Omenihu has 2 pressures
having a rough time.
on 79 snaps. His PFF grade ranks him 145th out of 148 edge rushers. And this was Charles Omenihu talking all offseason about how he's back and he's healthy and he's going to be a game changer and he wants that contract. And
you know why he's not dead last at 148?
I would assume
because Mike Dana is.
Because Mike Dana is. And like
not great, Bob.
Karlaftis has been not – I like the re-signing of Karlaftis overall, but he's not been worth it so far. He's been fine in run defense, and I think that's been a positive. As actually the defensive line has been, I've been pleasantly surprised with what they've done in run defense overall. But no quick pressures from Karlaftis has been an issue. Chris Jones has not necessarily been the same guy because he's getting double teamed the astronomical amount. No one else is winning one-on-one. I would like to see more Ashton Gelati. But again, point remains, there's just no pressure from these front 4, so it's forcing Spags to do that. you got to confuse quarterbacks. You saw Noah Williams. I don't know if it's sustainable. One-on-one against Devontae Smith at one point, and one-on-one against A.J. Brown. Yes, he won those reps. One against A.J. Brown was questionable, but it goes down as a win. Is that sustainable to go one-on-one with your CB4, CB3, CB4, because Fulton would be CB3.
Yeah, because Noah Williams is straight out of Locash. Go ahead.
And I just, again, I have concerns when you cannot get pressure with 4. It is going to be a long season defensively. A lot of peaks and valleys if that's the case.
Yeah, I would agree. And the fact is, in this league, I liken it to practice. Every team has 7-on-7 where it's just the shell, the receivers and the running backs in practice against the defensive backs and linebackers. And in that, the offense is unbelievably successful all the time because the QB sits back there and he can find somebody. And so what I'm saying is most any QB, the worst QB in the world, if they have time, in the NFL, if they have time, they're going to pick people apart for the most part if they have plenty of time to just sit back there and they don't have to worry about it. You talked about Karlaftis. I love his motor, but I also think that's what his rush is having that big motor. It reminds me of Tamba a lot. And Tamba obviously had a Hall of Fame career with the Chiefs, Ring of Honor. But don't ever confuse, in my estimation, confuse Karlaftis with Chris Jones. It's two completely different types of players.
And the Chiefs have gone after these high motor guys. Dana is that guy. Gelati, to an extent, was going to be a little bit of that guy because when they go after guys like FAU, and now I have questions a little bit about FAU of he doesn't fit their scheme, and so he doesn't even get really an opportunity. Yeah. Joshua Uche didn't fit the scheme, so he didn't get an opportunity, and then you see him flourish right now with the Eagles.
Was it Gelati that got his first sack this week? Was that?
No, it was Omar Norman.
And with him. He got that sack because he kept going, and there was there. I mean, it's not like he beat somebody.
It was a 5-second, 6-second sack.
Exactly right.
But also.
Great tackle.
How many people decleat Jalen Hurts?
Oh, great. That's great.
That was awesome to watch.
He made the most of his chance, no doubt about that.
I mean, Omar Norman-Lott is he's pacing for 8.5 sacks this year.
He was not going to, was it Breland Speaks who didn't bring the guy, he didn't want to hurt him, didn't want to bring him down. So
that was Tom Brady.
Was it Tom Brady?
Breland Speaks wrapped up Tom Brady, but didn't want to get the roughing the passer. So as Breland Speaks was going, he let Tom Brady go, and then Tom Brady ran for a touchdown.
And Omar Norman-Lott goes, I am going to make sure this guy is on the ground.
That's right. Man, we have kept Kendall very long here. What do you make of the matchup? And if you have a prediction for what do you think? Takes place Sunday?
What? I just think this Giants team, even though I think the Chiefs have never went in there and won against the Giants, which I think is interesting.
And Spags had a part in that too.
Has no meaning with anything, but all the same, I just think it's a team that the Chiefs are superior to, and I think they're a wounded animal right now. It's not a must-win, but they kind of see it that way probably, and I think they come away with the game. I've been saying 24-21.
24-21. We'll see what ends up happening on Sunday. Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. Enjoy the football. And looking forward to our conversation breaking down the Ravens game. And here's to that conversation being about a 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs team looking to get back to 500 if they can knock off the Ravens. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Absolutely. There's Kendall Gammon. He is presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen, as they are recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. More Zone next.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
By the way, remember we were having a conversation with Mick on Monday, because I'm going back now in the break and looking at how many of the handoffs have been under center versus out of the shotgun. Those breather plays that Matt Nagy talked about.
Yeah.
For whatever reason in my mind, and we discussed, because Mick was like, well, you know, Mahomes under center on that 4th and 1 that got stopped by the Eagles at their own, 30, 6-yard line or whatever. And I'm like, no, he was in shotgun, but no, he was under center. The backfield was Tunyon, Gray, and Kareem Hunt, 3 lined across. In my mind, I'm thinking Mahomes in the shotgun, and he's got Kareem to his right and a tight end to his right. Yes. No, he's absolutely under center with those 3 guys in the 3-point stance and the running back behind him.
Then I have less issue with that play than I originally thought.
Yeah, and Mick had talked about that. He's like, well, it went under center there. And we're like, no, they didn't, you dummy. Shut up, Mick. Anyway, so.
They're not mutually exclusive.
That's a good point. At 1 o'clock, it'll be a Fast Friday with Andy Reid. We'll hear from Andy. We'll hear from Omar Norman-Lott and Isaiah Pacheco. But Matt Derrick said, how many of these running plays have been breather plays, under center handoffs, right? So I've done the math, looking at it. Luckily, the game book, when they're in shotgun, puts a parentheses around shotgun, which is why I went back and was like, hold on, 4th and 1 that was stopped. It doesn't say shotgun there. Hold on, let me go and look. Oh, dummy. Anyway, they have handed the ball off to Hunt, Pacheco, Brashard Smith, and Xavier Worthy 30 times. 30 handoffs. They have handed the ball off from under center 12 of those 30. Which is 40%. Okay, a little bit more than I thought it would be.
Way more than I thought.
But
okay,
5 of those 12 are 4th and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, goal to go. So 4th downs, 3rd and 1s, and goal to goes are 5 of the 12.
Okay.
So you take 5 of those runs away if we're looking at just general in the course of a drive.
7 of 35?
7 of 25.
25, sorry.
7 of 20.
You're the math guy.
Which is 28% now. Now that makes a little bit more sense of 1 out of every 4 handoffs of a, quote, breather play, because that's not 1 out of every 4 plays. That's 1 out of every 4 handoffs are, quote, breather plays. They have handed off in the 2 games so far. This is 2 games worth of plays. They've handed off under center that isn't a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, goal to go 7 times. 7 breather plays, as they call it, for Mahomes in the 2 weeks worth of offense.
2 things. 1, on short yardage plays, I'm glad at least they're going more towards under center. I cannot stand when they run out of shotgun on 4th and 1. You're giving your running back
even
way less chance. Yeah, it's
me.
just you get under center and if it's not broke, don't fix it. Look around the NFL, and that's what teams Madden, I run out of shotgun. You know why? Because I know when I run on Madden, they're only going to have the 4, and they're going to spread everyone out. Real life, they don't really do that. Sorry, it's not Madden. So I'm glad at least that has happened a little more. 2, this is on me, and I would love to know if anyone else knows this, but it feels like they very rarely run play action under center.
That's a good question.
I want to know how many times they've ran play action, because it feels like when you watch Justin Herbert, or if you watch Kirk Cousins when he was good, when you watch Jared Goff, you look at a lot of these other quarterbacks around the NFL, they run a ton of play action, and it feels like it works a lot.
There was a scramble for like 3 yards from Patrick Mahomes in this game. That was an under center play action pass, but it ended up being a scramble. And there was a video out there of, my God, what are the Chiefs doing? This is absurd, because he's play action and he's rolling to his right, but everybody on the field is running across the field to the left. So how dumb is this coaching? What I saw in that play was, we have seen Patrick do a play action and roll right, stopping and then hitting the guy going across the field the other way, because he's getting the guys to move over where he's rolling out to, and they go the other. We've seen it a couple times of him rolling to his play action to the right, rolling to his left, and we've seen like Noah Gray or whoever the third tight end would be, not this year, but would be the one that takes the defensive end on a side, and you're like, oh man, they got that block, and now Mahomes is looking the other way. This might be a huge play here. They've done it where they've had a guy sneak underneath and then run a wheel route up the seam. And they hit it for a big play one time last year. They missed another big play last year. That's what I saw on that play, was the play action and then Mahomes rolling to his right. But Trey Smith got beat. And Trey Smith's guy runs right past him. If Trey Smith has that block, Mahomes then sets his feet and looks back the other way to where everybody is running. But Mahomes rolls right, looks up, And there's Trey Smith's guy, so he just then runs to his right and picks up 3 yards. And it's like, there's nobody over there. He's rolling, and he doesn't stop rolling. Why wouldn't you have somebody in that space for him to throw the ball? Because that play was designed for him to roll to his right, set his feet in a pocket, and throw back the other way because they're getting everybody to move a certain way. But if one guy misses their block, and unfortunately, it's a name we've said too often in pass plays in not coming through with their blocks, Trey Smith loses his guy, who then is the one that blows up that entire play. Now, mind you, I should also, point of reference, even the guys running across the field, they weren't open.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh my God, you missed a huge play because nobody was guarding this guy. No, that wasn't the case. Those guys weren't open. It might have been Mahomes having to scramble. But I guarantee that play was Mahomes rolling to his right and stopping and setting his feet and looking back left. But he couldn't, because as soon as he got there, that guy was already past the line of scrimmage running full bore. It might have been Jalen Carter. I got to go back and look at the video that's circulating on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but it looks bad.
Yeah.
If you don't take into account the play action cross the field throws back that we've seen them attempt before.
And again, small sample size. I think good defensive lines that they've gone up against so far overall. You and I disagree a little bit on the Chargers, but I thought the Chargers had a pretty good defensive line. But
yeah, we definitely disagreed on that, and they showed that they were a little bit better. Tier Tart,
that's the guy. I mean, I thought Tier Tart was just
better than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah, but point remains. You brought up a good point in regards to Trey Smith. He's been pretty good this year. He's been fine, but when you are getting paid the most for a guard in the NFL, that's not good enough. It's not.
Yeah,
and he's going to be the first to admit it. But you look at his. Again, PFF, not the end-all be-all, but I think this probably rings true. He ranks 26th out of 88 guards. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, overall.
26 out of 88, not bad. But you're the highest-paid guard in football.
What's the...
it's not good enough.
What's the pass blocking?
10 out of 88. 10. Run block grade, he is 59th.
That's interesting. Well...
I think he has struggled in run block, and we've talked about how...
the first play of the game against the Chargers was blown up because Trey Smith whiffed at the defensive tackle.
And...
Again, I'm not viewing Trey Smith as a plucky sixth rounder that's exceeded expectations.
It was
and
Joe
look,
Tooney.
This is awesome.
It's Joe Tooney now. Where
I view Trey Smith as you're the highest paid guard in the league. The quick losses cannot happen.
Remember when Joe Tooney first came to Kansas City? They first acquired him. The thought was that is too much money for a guard. But he lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
Right? Know how hard that is? Trey Smith now has the exact same expectations placed on him. It's Joe Tooney now. You have to be that good.
Yeah.
You can't be worse. And he's been fine this year. But fine's not good enough. But let's be real. The entire team has not been good enough this year. This is not me trying to pick on him now that he has a large contract.
Yeah.
But, again, these are things that we've talked about of you get beat on this play or you get beat on this play. That should not happen when you are the highest paid guard in football.
Small things here or there. Creed Humphrey said the word details when he was asked about the run game about 10 times the other day. Details. What's about the details? We got to be better at the details. I agree with that. And maybe it's just a detail here or there as to why it's not connecting. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk a little bit more about the Chiefs and Giants actual breakdown of the game and matchups. Also want to get into KU, West Virginia, Mizzou, and South Carolina. Look at it from a couple of perspectives in the 1 o'clock hour. What does it mean for KU, a win? What does it mean for KU if they lose? Same thing with Mizzou and South Carolina, a win, a loss. I think they both win the game, but we'll talk a little bit about things we might take away from that in tomorrow's matchup. And then again, talk about the Chiefs and Giants. We got the cuts before the show is over. We're going to hear from Andy Reid. We'll hear from Isaiah Pacheco and Omar Norman Lott. They will be at the podium today. So we got to get the.
Do we ask about? Hey Isaiah, you're a 47th out of 47th on PFF. Do you?
You can.
You believe that?
If you want to head out there, that'd be fine. You know what we need to do? We need to find the audio or just the background sound of whistling of the farmer in the dell. So whenever Omar is getting ready to be at the podium, because that's the wire.
Yeah.
When they say Omar coming, he'd be walking around. And everybody start running. Omar coming! Omar's coming! Omar's coming! Omar! So we got to get that for
I was still really impressed by that wrap up that he had. I know it wasn't a quick win. I understand that, but
Omar coming.
I will say I would like to see a little more snaps. He's only had 16 snaps so far this year.
Yeah.
Is what I'm seeing. That's
none in the first game.
Yeah. So 16.
16 in this one. That's like
How many-
28. I think he was out snapped by like 1 or 2 by Noddy. Like
That's
it
not
wasn't like
good.
they put, but it wasn't like, oh my God, Omar Norman Lott is not playing enough, and Derek Noddy's out there twice as many snaps. Derek Noddy had I was wrong. Derek Noddy had 28. Omar Norman Lott had 16.
So Jerry Tillery had 10. He had 30 week 1 without Omar. He had 10.
Well, I like that. I like seeing less Jerry Tillery and more Omar Norman Lott.
Yeah, I
I'd
do
like
too.
to see less Derek Noddy, but you are going up against a team that's going to be heavier, that's running the football. So that's what Derek Noddy's there to do. Not that he does it. Just saying that's what he's there to do.
There's something. There feels like a slight disconnect because I'm with you. He never grades out well. He's not a guy making a stop. He gets pushed around. It feels like in run defense. Yet the Chiefs' run defense the first 2 weeks has been good, and so I don't know what that means. I don't know how to evaluate of him not looking good, but the Chiefs' run defense as a whole looking pretty damn solid.
My assessment would be they're looking good in spite of Derek Noddy. Not looking good
Yeah.
because there's anything offered by Derek Noddy.
I agree, but it is an interesting to me fluctuation of, well, he's on the field for run defensive snaps. He doesn't look good, but the Chiefs' run defense as a whole looks good.
Yeah, I
I
just want him to take up space, and I don't think he does that well enough. Just simply, I don't need him to make tackles. But if somebody's going to double team you, then don't allow that initial blocker to then slide off and scrape to the next level because you've gotten moved and displaced so easily that the secondary blocker to help double team is able to get the edge and wall you off. By the way, that's what happened on that Saquon Barkley touchdown run.
Yeah.
Because the left guard blocked Derek Noddy, who was lining up over the right guard. Think about that. The left guard pulled to double team on Derek Noddy with the right guard, and because Derek Noddy got displaced so easily, the left guard was able to then get position to wall Derek Noddy off of the hole that was running off the right guard, which allowed the right guard to immediately get to the next level to take Drew Tranquill.
Well, by the way, Drew
just
Tranquill's
like,
had I was going to give him a huge shout because Drew's been really good in the run defense this year. For a guy who was more of a coverage linebacker, at least the thought process there, he's been, I looked it up, 15th out of 111 linebackers in run defense this year. I mean,
and for a guy that doesn't have a guy in front of him that's just going to take up all the space and allow you to run free. There's a reason Ray Lewis was lobbying the Ravens to draft Haloti Ngata.
Yeah.
Because Ray Lewis did not want to take on blockers.
By the way, 0 missed tackles this year for Drew Tranquill.
Drew.
0 missed tackles. I think Nick Bolton's been okay in that regard. I mean, I know that people have such a vast array of thoughts on Nick Bolton. I have no idea why nuance just gets thrown out. I have no idea if it's Mizzou related, if it's because I don't know.
I think it's linebacker related of
But
what they're paying.
some of the
value
analysts
of
and
position.
but then you can make the same case for Trey Smith and
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
And Creed and
It is what it is. But the point is, I think Drew Tranquil's had a really nice start to this year after my thought of, is he a guy who takes a step back? 30-year-old season now. He was a struggling the first half of last year before he found his footing again. I'm like, is Drew going to take a step back? And quite frankly, Drew Tranquil, in my opinion, has been damn good this year. In the secondary, we talk about Spags defense. You got to tackle. We've seen a lot of, I think, nice tackles in the run game for the secondary members. We saw Brian Cook have a really nice game. Shamari Connor had a great game last week against the Eagles. So even if Derek Nottie, again, might not be the best so far in run defense, the Chiefs' defense has made up for it overall with some of the secondary and tertiary pieces.
Yeah, and it's, I'll be honest with you, with the questions around Justin Reed going to New Orleans and the Chiefs moving Jaden Hicks into that spot with Brian Cook, that has seemed a lesser version of the Brian Cook pre-injury, and my concerns about Shamari Connor in the slot and Christian Fulton's injury and Noel Williams being a rookie and and looking at McDuffie and Jalen Watson, there are so many questions around that part of it coming into the season of how good they would be and how quickly they would mesh together. The fact that they were able to at least cover as much as they were asked to cover in cover 0 and cover 1 against the Eagles. I don't put a lot of blame on them at times against Justin Herbert, because some of those were soft zones that Spags was putting them in, when it's like, hold on, it's 3rd and 4, you blitzed, and Keenan Allen just turns around and catches a first down because Shamari Connor's 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like, what are we doing here? Why would you do that? It's a blitz. You would think you'd be up there to make him throw it quickly to a guy who's covered. Instead, you made him throw it quickly to a guy who had nobody within 5 yards around him, and then he falls for a first down. This is dumb. And by the way, Spags even said it was one of the worst games that he's called, and he took credit for that. And I'd love to see what the adjustments would be next time they play the Chargers.
Do you like
apples?
Leo Chanel playing more on the defensive line. He played 6 snaps week 1. He played 17 against the Eagles. They're trying to get some juice on that defensive line. And I don't know, again, PFF, how they grade it all, box. Wow, that bird just decided
Big
to,
bird.
terrify me in there. The turkey vulture's back.
Big
That D-line rotation has been getting shuffled because no one's getting pressure. I'm intrigued by Leo. He didn't do a lot, but 17 snaps week 2. Kind of interesting.
All right, so we thought we were going to get Andy Reid at 1 o'clock. So what we're going to do is we've ordered our food. We're going to go to the bathroom, and then the food is going to be delivered. What we're saying is that waiting on Andy Reid, we're going to go to break, sneak one in, and then on the other side we will we'll hear from Andy Reid, Omar Norman, Lott, and Isaiah Pacheco next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's head out to Arrowhead where we hear from Andy Reid.
Dude, I guess how he did after practice and everything. So I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to Rick or him about it.
How's he looked for you out there on the practice field?
He's done a nice job. Yeah, he can run fast.
Yeah, that's the good part, right? Because he didn't get an injury to the legs.
Yeah.
You don't hit in practice and stuff like that. So is that one of the factors when you're trying to figure out what's up?
Yeah, listen, I leave it up to the doctors and Rick and whatever they say. We practice with them, we practice without them, and you know that's how it goes. We don't, whatever goes. Yeah.
You're here at the end of the week, and you've been around the guys a bunch this week. Yeah, I imagine you've probably seen what you want to see from them attitude-wise with this tough start going on the road and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With Xavier and Jalen, just if you're able to get them back at all, what would it do? Is just kind of a jolt for the offense?
Yeah, well, they're good. Both of them are good players. You know, so it'd help with the other guy. I don't want to take anything away from the other guys either. They're doing a nice job. So. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, there's Andy Reid and Xavier Worthy practicing again today. He said we'll just see how it goes and check him out on Sunday. What happens there? Jalen Royals has practiced all week this week with full participant for Jalen Royals. And Patrick Mahomes, his wrist injury that popped up on the injury report this week, he's been a full participant, but happened at some point during the game. Don't really know where it happened in the game, but his wrist sort of swelled up after the game on Sunday, but again, full participant, no concerns there. But you know, anytime he's dealing with something or getting treatment, the NFL, you're required to put him on the injury report. So, so there you go. But we'll see what the connection or what the odds of them playing with Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals. So we'll see what the odds are. But you know, Xavier Worthy, it's not an injury to his legs.
Yeah.
So thank God.
That's good news. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Hollywood Brown. We talked about the injury last year, where it was, how do you view it? It shouldn't affect him because it's just your sternum. It shouldn't affect anything. What was it? Sternoclavicular.
Yeah.
And whatever the long name was.
Yeah, the surgery on his collarbone.
Yeah, and so it like doesn't affect your hands, doesn't affect your legs.
Yeah.
It's not an ACL. Shouldn't slow you down.
Right.
Yeah, I think kind of the same thing with Xavier Worthy. Maybe range of motion if it's a
true.
You know, if you
that shoulder injury.
don't try and throw him a back shoulder fade, maybe. But
I want Xavier Worthy to get out of bounds a lot moving forward. Catch the ball.
Tyreek was great at that.
And that's the thing is like long term, man. Long term, Tyreek, quick over to the sideline, get out of bounds. You don't need to take those hits or slide.
Yeah.
Or Tyreek is good at when he's around guys and get ready to take. He'll just slide down, and I don't need to take the hit.
I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown does a great job of that as well for the Lions, as far as maybe not taking the unnecessary hits. Jamar Chase, for as big as he is, I think at times does a good job of protecting himself and not allowing someone to take the big hit.
Yeah, no reason to do that.
There's just not, especially for a yard.
Yeah,
2 yard playoffs. I get it. Playoffs, sure, I understand.
go
But
out of bounds.
long season, if you're the guy.
Here's Pacheco.
Probably like 50.
So how's that work? You got to ask around everyone else to get the tickets?
Nah, I let my parents, figure out who's all coming. Then by the end of the week, they just let me know by Wednesday. And when the tickets are due, they're due. And, I don't worry about any of that stuff. It's time to lock in on the game.
You're always obviously fired up in every NFL game. But does it feel a little bit different? Like you've been back playing at home before. Did you feel different that night? And you think you'll feel any different during this one?
Going back home is always exciting. So, being that close, not too far, being able to see people in the stands that I haven't seen in months is always exciting for me. But knowing that I got fam there, but most importantly, I'm just going there on a mission.
Hey, going back to your rookie year, you played through a torn labrum. Can you just describe the experience of going through that and kind of what you had to go through when you were just playing through that?
Definitely. It was tough. The great training staff here. They was able to get me able to play, and that was coming with treatment, and there was working with each other, and that's what it takes. And that's it was easy after that.
I knew you probably couldn't throw, but were there any limitations just as a running back when you had that injury?
Not for real. I wasn't throwing the ball like you said, so I just needed to hold that sucker down, and I was ready to roll.
talked to Xavier at all since he seems to be going through a similar thing here?
Yeah, he's doing good. Yep.
What are your thoughts about the Giants' defense? People talk about their front a lot. I mean, what are you guys going to face here?
Yeah, definitely. Every week, we're going against opponents. They're tough up front. Competition. Every week we're going to have that, and that's what it's about: having fun, going out there and competing. And I believe we're ready.
When you watch yourself on film these last 2 weeks, Isaiah, what have you pinpointed as things you want to see improvement, sort of moving forward, starting on Sunday?
Just being a little bit more patient as far as me. Just allowing the game to come to me, and just after that, just playing fast, playing hard for my teammates, and just finish start. Yeah, finish the start. Yep.
Anything else?
A few of your guys, your teammates have called you the energy guy, the guy that brings the emotion. How much have you relied on that as being part of your game?
It's fun, bro. Like I love competing when you're out there with your teammates. Those are the times that I get to cherish every moment. So you never know when they're going to be your last play. So you just got to keep hitting it and having fun. And that's the mindset I bring to it, bro. Like go out there, have fun, and leave it all out there.
As you mentioned patience, is that something that you've always kind of had to remind yourself, just because you are a fast back, you are a guy that hits the hole quickly? Is that something that's always been something you've had to sort of remind yourself?
Yes, going back in the film, watching it and just, detailing the work and, evaluating myself, looking in the mirror and just, that's it.
What's it? Just one real quick. Did you ever go to the stadium as a kid at all?
No, I never went to any NFL games as a kid. I always said, once I was playing, once I started, one day I'll be in NFL and that'll be my first game. And that first preseason game here was my first NFL. What was it, Chicago or something, I think?
Yeah, Chicago. What's it feel like around meeting rooms, practice, and all that stuff? You guys, 0-2 and all that stuff. Does it feel like you guys are ready to take that step and get a win? Are you getting the vibe that you want to have right now heading into this game from everyone?
Absolutely. We're prepared for the game, and this comes with it. Up for the challenge every week, and it's a new game, new challenge every week. So you be prepared. Allow the game to come to us.
Last one, Zach.
Isaiah, when you were in Brazil, you said that you wanted to have a revenge tour. What did you mean by that?
As far as, getting back to where I was, made it. Past 2 games last year, only made it to 2 games, so it's the start of, just being able to compete and go out there every week and be the best ability I can be and be help the team.
Thanks, Isaiah.
Yep. There's Isaiah Pacheco, 50 tickets or so that'll be there against the New York Giants as a guy wearing his Rutgers shirt there at the podium today, returning home. Said that when he tore his labrum, played through that, it was tough, but worked with the staff and everything was good. Should also point out, when he went home and played there in New York against the Jets, he had 20 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown, and also 3 receptions, 43 yards. So 23 touches, 158 yards for Isaiah Pacheco and a touchdown. Last time he went home and played in front of his family, had a huge night. Giants aren't the best at stopping the run. Maybe this is an Isaiah Pacheco huge game that it's like, okay, you get the run established. Pacheco had a couple of bigger runs there. I think I may ladder Isaiah Pacheco this weekend because I think 50 yards is already plus money for him. Now, that would be 30 more yards than what he's got so far in a game because he's had 5 carries, 25 yards, and 10 carries, 22 yards.
So more than he's had in 2 games combined. Yeah, that's nice.
That's right.
What about a little Brashard Smith action?
I don't know. I just can't count on him getting opportunities when he's only gotten 1 so far. 1 carry, 2 yards. I think if we're talking about...
What's the line? Is it like 0.5? If it's 0.5, give me the over.
He may not even have a line, you know what I mean?
Give me the...
It might be so small that they don't even place him on the board.
Let me try and find... I love when it's 0.5. I think Tyquan Thornton week 1 was 0.5, and I'm like, that's an over.
Of rushing? Or
no, pass, of receiving.
Oh, wow. Like receptions or yards?
It was yards, then it was 0.5.
My God. Yeah, that's one you should have laddered then.
I didn't know I was just going to play.
Yeah, I don't see... Yeah, it's just Pacheco, Mahomes, and Hunt are the ones that are listed there. So minus 127 for him to get 40 yards. 50 yards is plus 140. 60 yards plus 240. 70 yards is plus 400. I may ladder that thing all the way up to 80 yards and just see what happens.
Ooh.
Just see what happens.
Ooh.
Let's see if he breaks out. He's going back home. Going back home, man. and studying the film this week to try to be more patient. Not run right into the back of Kingsley when there's a hole to the left and the right. Clowns to the left of me. Jokers to the right. I ran into his back. Here I am. Hole to the left of me. A bigger hole to the right. Where'd you go? Right up the middle.
Stuck in the middle with you.
Stuck in the middle with Kingsley. Right there. And he did get stuck. Just bury his head and try to just burrow through the offensive line instead of running to daylight. The exact opposite of that. Did not run to daylight. He ran to Kingsley. It's a big man, is Kingsley. So we'll see. Waiting on Omar Norman Lott. We'll take a timeout. We will come back. Is that cool, or should we wait? It's up to you, Michael. You're the one. This is your plate that you are Kendall Gammon juggling things back there.
So much for a fast Friday. This has not been fast.
This is the slowest Fast Friday in the history of Fast Fridays. Last week was the quickest. They started at like 12:58 and they were done at 1:05. 1:06. It was like the fastest of the Friday. And that was a home game. This is a Fast Friday on a road game. Not that they're getting on the plane today or anything, but we'll take a timeout. We'll come back because it may be a little bit before we hear from Omar Norman Lott. I think eventually Omar Norman Lott will be coming. We just have to hear the Farmer in the Dell whistle. More Zone next. All right, we will head out right now as we're told that Omar Norman Lott is heading into the room. Let's take it out there right now. Let's listen in.
Well, I didn't get a chance to talk to you after the game. Take us through your sack and just what went right for you on that play.
I just kept rushing. That's straining through the duration of the whole play. That's what went right for me, and I was in the right place at the right time because of that.
Did it feel good to get your first one just kind of out of the way as opposed to you thinking going a couple games without getting one?
Yeah.
And just kind of build on it?
Yeah, I definitely felt good. It always feels good, that feeling of just getting the quarterback down. So, yeah.
What was the celebration?
Cat Daddy, the old school Cat Daddy.
You didn't hold the 5-5?
Nah, that version of Omar is on the way. I'm saving that one.
Omar without Mike.
Boo.
Without, Mike Dan potentially, does that give you a chance to maybe see more reps, make a bigger impact out there?
Well, yeah, that's for the whole D-line, though. It's everywhere I've been, it's always that next man up mentality, and we have a lot of guys, including myself, who have that ability to be a good filler.
What were your observations just generally about the defense from week 1 to week 2, where the numbers were much better?
Our intention and I would say our intention and our energy. That was the two biggest things I could give you.
What was it like for you to have to sit out that opener and then to translate that energy into your second year?
Yeah, it's always a nail biter when you have to sit out and watch your team, and I'm good with being that supportive teammate and helping my teammates out with what I'm seeing, being on the sideline to help them be good on the field. But yeah, it's always hard doing that. And going into week 2, my vets, they just told me to play free and not feel like I'm in any kind of zone with it being my first game, and that's kind of how it went.
All good? Thanks, Omar.
All right, there's Omar Norman Lott. Big sack in the first game he played in the NFL in week number 2. And hopefully we start to see, as he said, more and more of Omar Norman Lott and the version of him that the Chiefs drafted. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, and we'll get into some predictions and breakdown of the games coming up this week. And more Zone next. officiating the tush push tighter. So that is something that's going on. So good for them. Good for them.
They did say that there was one.
What?
That would have been a false start.
That was the 4th and 1, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not why they lost. Things happen in a game. And I think reasonable minds can agree that that should have been officiated a little bit better, but it's also not why they lost the game. Same thing with any of the games that the Chiefs have played in the last, 2-3 years when people have said that the reason the Chiefs are winning is strictly and maybe specifically because that they're getting these crazy calls at the end of the game. Obviously, disagree with that because there's a lot of reasons why the Chiefs would have won certain games along the way. So we mentioned the running game for the Kansas City Chiefs and the numbers that are there on running under center versus handing off out of the shotgun. And I would really like to see an increase of the breather plays for Patrick Mahomes. I'd really like to see an increase of the plays where you just simply hand off. And maybe that's this week against a defensive line that is really good at rushing the passer, right? We talk about this Giants defense that has pieces across their defensive line that get after the quarterback, but they are so bad against the run because their back seven isn't any good, and the front four focus a lot on rushing the passer. So you would think that would be the perfect combination of invest in the run game. But as Cajun tweeted with the meme from The Princess Bride, well, obviously, I know that you aren't good in the run game, which means that you know that I'm not good or that you're not good in the run game, and I know that, which means that you think that I'm going to run the ball. But by you thinking that I'm going to run the ball, then I need to know that I'm not going to run the ball because it would make you think that I am going to run the ball. So now I'm passing the ball. Look, you can't stop our offense no matter what. Okay, you don't go to a land war with China, and you don't battle a Sicilian when death is on the line.
And you don't spit into the wind.
Nope.
You don't pull on the Lone Ranger.
Right.
Or take the mask off the old Lone Ranger.
Right.
And you don't mess around with Jim.
And you don't pull on Superman's cape.
Yeah, that's the other one, yeah.
Tug or pull or whatever it might be.
Don't mess with Jim. That's what I learned.
Yep. You don't do any of those things. And you don't have two lead blockers be second and third tight ends and pull left guard while Jawan Taylor had to block Jalen Carter and Kareem Hunt to run outside when he's not the fastest on a fourth and have to have it in your own side of the field.
That's very dumb. And I just also realized, I bet Darcy has no idea what I just about the, spit in the wind, mask of the old Lone Ranger. And
So I'm actually an old soul when it comes to TV shows, but not music.
But do you know what you don't mess around with Jim?
I don't know that.
Jim Croce. Okay, I just realized anyone under the age of 40 probably has no idea what I'm talking about right now.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. And that's sort of the 10 to 2. That's what we like to do around here. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll get into our breakdown of Chiefs, Giants, Mizzou, South Carolina, KU, West Virginia coming up next. All right, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Heartland Men's Health. I'd mentioned that for years, a decade. I'd wanted to see what my testosterone level was, and I waited around to the point that I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like even doing anything outside with the kids after I get off the air and the show is over because I'm just exhausted. Well, let me actually go and check what the testosterone level is. Maybe it's connected to that, my energy level. So I went to Heartland Men's Health, scheduled a consult, did the lab work, had the results within 30 minutes and lower than I thought it would be. I gave them my symptoms. Energy level was not there. Certainly, my weight was not as easy to lose based on the diet that I had had throughout my life. That happens. And the brain fog was there, not even knowing what that was, but it was something I was suffering from. And so I got the results with them, and we went over those results and decided that, you know what, let's start that testosterone replacement therapy. Cost of the appointment's only $99. That includes medical consult, T and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, it's free. You could be back to having those higher energy levels and better gains in the gym and sleeping better, waking up feeling more refreshed, no more brain. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes and Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. We hand it over to Soren Petro at 2. And then high school football pregame show at 6 o'clock, in the game of the week, Blue Valley, St. Thomas Aquinas coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. Chiefs in action Sunday, 7:20 on NBC, KSHB 41, 6-point favorites for the Chiefs. Mizzou in action tomorrow, 6 o'clock on ESPN. They are 10-point favorites over South Carolina. And KU on FS1 at 5 o'clock tomorrow, 12.5-point favorites to open up conference play. Let's go through these games. I want to discuss it briefly. What is it? We'll start with KU. What does it mean for KU to win? What does it mean if they drop this opener to West Virginia?
I think what's important is the fact that they are 12.5, 13.5-point favorites, which is wild. Even if you look back a few years ago. Yeah, this is a big one for the Jayhawks. You know, that Mizzou game, they showed a lot of really good things. West Virginia is nowhere near as good, and they spent a lot of energy beating Pitt. So what is West Virginia going to look like? Will they come out excited still? Can that carry over? Or will it be a little sluggish because they exerted all that energy? We'll find out. I think it's too many points. Just in general, I think 13.5, just too many points. I would take West Virginia with the spread. But, man, Jalen Daniels, as long as he can clean up the mistakes, that's what it comes. Don't drop the football. Don't
throw a bad interception.
Fumble the football.
Yeah, like that's what it comes down to. If he plays smart football, he is so damn talented. I like the Jacks to win easy-ish, but probably win by 10.
What's it mean for a win and a loss?
I mean, if they win, they take care of business. If they don't, it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where all Kansas fans are at. I have them covering the spread. I think they're going to put up a lot of points against West Virginia, but I don't have that for another team that's local.
Okay, so my view on it is, I don't know the last time we looked at a Big 12 conference game where you go, Kansas winning is just what they're expected to do. This is just shooting par if they win. This is a no-win situation for Kansas to a degree, in that winning is the only option here. Losing is a massive disappointment from where you're at right now, feeling like you let a couple plays get away in the Missouri game that maybe you could have won that one, and the opportunity of being 5-1 to play Texas Tech. Take care of business. Mizzou and South Carolina. What's it mean if Mizzou wins? What's it mean if Mizzou loses, Sterling?
The domination over South Carolina would continue outside of last year, going back to 2013, I think was the last. I mean, when the kicker hit the double. I was at that game. That was one of the worst games I've been to my entire life. But yeah, for Missouri, you need to win this game to prove that you're legit in the SEC and that you legit have college football playoff aspirations. I know Lenora Sellers is now looking like he's going to play. That's big, but that also means you get a real test for your defense. You had a real test with Jalen Daniels, but now South Carolina SEC team, the trenches has not been consistent for Mizzou, offensive line, defensive line. This is the game to prove it. So for me, this is the barometer of how good are you, Mizzou? Prove to me. Show me, State. Show me.
Darcy, what do you think? What's it mean for a win and a loss for Mizzou?
This would be a statement win for Missouri. I know that they beat Kansas soundly, but if you could beat South Carolina with, Prbula at quarterback, it would mean a lot. I think that this is the real litmus test for what Missouri is going to be this season. I do have South Carolina covering the spread, but I do think Missouri wins.
This is a big one to me because...
Agreed, by the way.
Yeah, this is a big one to me because Missouri remembers that South Carolina game last year.
Yep.
And that was a heartbreaker for them. They had that thing all but won. The highlight of the one-handed catch by Luther Bird and touchdown got lost because Sellers just went Lenora Sellers on the other side. So I think they're going to come out and win. If they lose this one, it would be a massive disappointment for Mizzou to be 3-1 and 4-1 at the break instead of 5-0 at the bye week, getting ready for Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, 3 ranked teams in a row. I think they'll take care of business. Chiefs, Giants. Darcy, we start with you, and a final score if you've got one.
I looked it up. The last time the Chiefs played the Giants, it was 2021 at Arrowhead. Final score of that game, 20-17 Chiefs. I think this game is going to be close. I got 24-17 Chiefs, and not really inspiring that much confidence.
Sterling, what you got?
Oh, man.
I know.
I knew it was coming, but I'm still
I can go before you if you want to give it some more thought.
No,
I
got to just go with my 23... 19.
Oh, wow.
Just an ugly
what a
game.
Scoregami.
Yeah, it's just going to be...
Do you know it's been 3 years since 31-21 was the final in the NFL?
That's crazy. It's just going to be an ugly game where you're
crazy.
What the heck happened? What? But they won.
Yeah.
Yay. So I'll say 23-19.
I think, and man, I'm going to be foolish for this, but I think the offense goes out and scores some points. So I'm going to put them at 30. I think it's going to be like 30-17, and then a late score by the Giants makes it 30-24, and they win by 6, and that's either a push or a cover if you're getting it 5.5, 6.5, whatever it is. But I've got it 30-24 with the Giants scoring late to make it that close and not recovering an onside kick, and people going, oh, 1-score win for the Chiefs, and not really paying attention to what happened with that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We got cuts next. All right, wrapping up the show, wrapping up the week's worth of shows, and that means with or without Mick Schaefer, he's at his 30th reunion, high school, and it doesn't matter. We're still going to get the cuts going. So
High school's over, Mick.
Yeah. You wearing your Letterman's jacket there too? Let's hear what the cuts are. Michael Darcy, take it away.
Yeah, you get a little older, you just start to get some of those random kinks in your back when you wake up, and then I imagine it just gets worse and worse. I'm at 36 right now, so it isn't getting better.
Okay. It does get worse.
Okay, good to know.
It gets.
Thanks,
Jay.
Yeah, it does. I imagine it gets worse. You imagine correctly.
No way in HEW hockey sticks.
Chris Jones.
Both really good players. Both have packages.
Oh.
Okay, well,
Wow.
that typically comes with the product.
Yeah, I'm a KU Jayhawk football fan now.
Whoa! What was that, Sterling? My goodness. Cannot believe you switched allegiances.
My mouth cannot get this wide.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Who said, oh, yeah, in
That
the
was
back?
you. You said, oh, yeah,
That
in the
was
background.
you.
You said, oh, yeah, in the background. Hey, let's hear who was, what football team does he root for now? I can't
Yeah, I'm
remember.
a KU Jayhawk football fan now.
Oh, okay.
Nope. No, I am not. That was...
But his mouth can get wide enough, I think.
I'm super proud of this one. This one came from the last segment.
I am going to make sure this guy is on the ground.
That's right. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure.
That's right. You wrestling match or?
Yeah,
you know?
wrestling.
Okay, tummy sticks, whatever it
Put
is.
some
Keep
on
going.
your hand. Let's lick that bad boy.
11 minutes to go in the third quarter until 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. Army had the ball.
It's unbelievable.
It's I've never heard of anything like that. I don't know if there's ever been anything quite like that. And so they kind of messed with the wrong team. Avery Johnson looked okay, but what a horrible loss.
What was the key? Why?
It's called discipline, guys.
I don't know if you said that on the air or not, but we were doing our program picks with Fat Jack. We were talking about the game, and just real subtly goes, it's called discipline.
Oh, Kyle, go Army, beat Navy. Keep going there, Michael.
I was waiting for someone who I could do this with. How hard do you want it? Hot and nasty.
Oh, my God. Sterling, what is up with you?
My mouth cannot get this wide.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It was the
that was you.
It was the burn in.
It was the deep
corn
It was
dog.
the corn dog burn in. That's right, not the deep fried burn ins, but the corn dog
Yeah,
burn ins.
it was thick. I needed a Steven Tyler mouth.
It's man, I didn't get to taste it because you had that one, and then we were done with the segment, and we came back and did another because we were talking to Mitch at that point. We did another segment, and then I went back there to the back, and the corn dog and everybody else, somebody just grabbed it.
Well, it came on a stick.
Well, you can still cut it up, you know what I mean? People
Nah.
can. Just saying that would have been nice if they did that. Just like a bite, you know, just a little taste. You know what I mean? So wet the whistle. All right.
You brought in a bag of meat today.
I did, and I never got around to eating it. So I'm going to eat it when I get home. I'm going to have my lunch at 2:15.
Jason had a bag of meat brought in.
Yeah.
And it's not even refrigerated or anything.
No,
That
it's just sitting
is-
there. It's going to be heated up very quickly. That's you know what that is? That's Meat Mitch.
Yeah.
That's what that is. I'm going to enjoy that. You guys enjoy the rest of the day on Sports Radio